the children to bed. It's time for Dan and Aldo to bare their souls.
I love the Chicago Bears more than I do masturbating, and that is a lot.
Then, with 3 seconds left, Bob Avellini throws a 30-something yard touchdown pass to Greg Latta, and the Bears win, and I literally shit my pants. I swear to God, I literally did.
Eric Kramer, for me, I love the guy. He's a tragic figure. I mean, he embodies all that is.
If they don't run the ball here, I'm going to vomit. I swear to God.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect. He just didn't play that well. Not for a guy of his caliber.
You know, they won, but I'm going to be miserable all week because they stunk.
I don't really have any recollection of that at all, but I guess perhaps I blacked it all out.
So, Dan, tape is the ultimate tool for scouts and for coaches to evaluate players, to detect plays and so forth. And they spend hours looking at tape, right? Why do they so often get shit wrong?
I love the efficiency of bourbon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan and Aldo.
Welcome, one and all, to a very special edition of Bare Their Souls. Dance back! Yee-hee! Whoa, Dan Aguire, how are you, brother?
I want to talk about something going back to when I, most recently was here. It's a few months ago now, right?
Yeah.
I'm well, but I just want to say something. Okay. This is true. I fucking cried when Santos made that field goal against the Packers. It may not have mattered to anybody. It may not have mattered. We hadn't won a game in 3 months. 3 fucking months after the Hail Mary against the Redskins or the Commanders. And then here we are. We lost the blocked kick at Soldier Field. And there we are in Green Bay, and they give up this lead. If you remember on the mic, Daryl Johnston said, I'm sure the Bear fans are waiting to see something go wrong. And DJ Moore fumbles on the next play. And then, of course, the Packers make a 55-yarder, and you're like, oh, my God, here we go again. But finally, Caleb leads us down the field, and he kicks the field goal and then jumps in the stands, and all these entitled white women were yelling. And it was fucking amazing.
Well, you weren't the only one crying, or at least tonight there's somebody else crying, a New England Bears fan. This says, I'm not crying, you're crying. I think this is all emotional for those of us who have worked with Dan and know Dan and love Dan, and that's a perfect way to start the show because it encapsulates who you are as a man and as a Bears fan. And I know Tooch is nodding his head, and he amplifies my thoughts. Tooch, how much have you missed Dan?
It's unbelievable amount. I'm not surprised at all the comments in the chat room too of everybody that's like so happy that he's here.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
the outpouring of love.
Yep.
I appreciate all of you. Not to sound, I'm not blowing smoke or trying to be disingenuous. It's great to be here.
Yep.
How's life been treating you in the 3, 4, 5 months that we haven't talked to you regularly?
It's the same old shit, 12-hour shifts, which is the reason the band went on hiatus to begin with.
Yeah.
But, I'm making it. I've made the adjustments and, maybe I can pop in here and there that we kind of, can sort of, at the time, it felt like the sky was falling for me in a sense, not like I was going to lose my house or anything like that. I wasn't behind, but I just didn't know what to expect. Mm-hmm. But now I can look at my schedule and know when I'm working and stuff. And I just didn't know that at the time. So So, maybe we can do this more often than just once, but we'll see, It could be a one-off, I guess, right?
I'd love that, and I know Tooch would too, and I know all our fans would. So we want to get a quick temperature of what you think about the new coaching staff and what else has stood out to you over the last few months. Everybody would love to get your take on Ben Johnson and what's happening with the Bears. You know, Kevin Warren and going to build in Arlington Heights, going to build downtown Chicago, all that stuff. Go ahead. The floor is yours, brother.
Ben Johnson, at the time, I'm not going to lie to you, and I think you may recall, I did not want Ben Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want him because he hadn't coached at any level as the head coach. And I just kept thinking, man, he's Matt Nagy part 2. Yeah. Oh, he's the hot assistant. I mean,
Dave Wanstead.
Well, yeah, I liked Wani, though. I thought, Wani did. We don't need to go through the history of Wanstead. They didn't win enough, but Wani wasn't a bad coach.
No, he just didn't win.
Well, the Bears were really cheap then, the way that people always think of them as now, that they're cheap, and they're really not. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But back then, they didn't draft well. They didn't spend any money, and they're still playing hard for him. But looking at Ben Johnson again, I just was so, and I still am worried. Don't get me wrong. I was terrified that he's just going to be coming in here trying to do his Detroit, run the fucking point spread. Like every game, they were always trying to rub their opponent's face and shit, and try to win by 40, which made me think he was an asshole anyway. And like that stupid play they did at Soldier Field where they acted like they fell, I just wanted to kick his fucking ass over that play. Fuck him. Hire him and fire him the next day just because of that play. I was so pissed off. And fuck David Montgomery. Fuck the Lions. I'm glad they lost. But after we've had a few months now, and I'm thinking, all right, maybe, just maybe, give the guy an opportunity. He's giving good pressers when he talks. He seems more competent, at least at the mic, than Matt Nagy. Mm-hmm. So maybe I should have been more open to him ahead of time. But we haven't played one game with him. So right. I did want McCarthy, and the reason why, I've said it many times, the dude hates the Packers now. So it's like a film where they say the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And I was like, yes, bring this guy in. He wants to kick Green Bay's ass, and we do too. And he's won a Super Bowl. And I wanted somebody that had done it before. So again, it makes me nervous thinking that he's just learning his shit when he walks in again. I hate that. But hey, what can we do? He's the coach. I'm supporting him.
Mm-hmm. Tooch and I, or Tooch in his spare state of affairs, and then he and I have talked about the presence that Ben Johnson has, and that, he's been looking at players at press conferences and directing comments to them and challenging them, get comfortable being uncomfortable, no blocking, no block, no rock. So do you get the sense, Dan, like I think Tooch and I do, that this guy isn't going to have a problem instilling a new culture, the John Fox culture, the Lovie Smith culture, the Mike Ditka culture, where players respect the game, are true teammates, as opposed to what Eberflus allowed to happen in that last season of his?
I do have hope for everything you just said. And the reason being, and it's just one line, and I'm sure you have it somewhere, but we haven't talked about this ahead of time. In his introductory presser, I can't remember the exact question, but the gist of it was about his playbook. And the one thing I just ranted and raved about and just never let go about Matt Nagy was I said that he couldn't implement his playbook to match the talent on the team. It was always like, oh, my offense, and I always mention Pat Riley goes to the Knicks. He's not running Showtime. He's trying to work with Patrick Ewing now. So he changed his offense. Well, if you heard him in that presser, he said, the Detroit Lion playbook is in the garbage. We have to figure out what offense we're going to run based upon our talent. Oh, when he said that, I could have given him a kiss. I was like, yes,
me too.
Yes. So that made me have hope, even though I wouldn't be surprised if this midsummer I'm like, who is this guy? But no, I felt like when he said that, it takes a lot for a guy it's for me. I think if you're getting this huge contract, you're getting money like you've never had in your entire life. The oldest franchise in the National Football League is yours, And he had the wherewithal to say, whether it's false humility or not, hey, I don't know what we're running yet. We have to figure that out. I mean, most people would have said, we're going to run what the fuck I want to run. So I'll give him big ups for that.
Very cool. I think that I was around, I don't know, 15, 16 years old when I last had sexual fantasies about Virginia McCaskey. But so in honor of her, I did rub one out when the day it was announced she had passed. Everybody wants to know, did you rub one out too in honor of Virginia's passing?
I rubbed one off when Cairo made that field goal. And that turned out to be Virginia's last game. I mean, if you have to go out, it's terrible that she passed away. I'm not trying to make light of that. It's terrible that she died. I feel bad for George and his brother, but if she had to go out, at least it was the win over the Packers. Oh my God. That is fucking fantastic. I mean, and just maybe the way they won, like they slayed the dragon, they hadn't won since the game you were at when Trubisky clinched the division, and it just felt like a decade ago. Maybe this is what they need. They always say the season ends, it doesn't help or doesn't matter the next season, but maybe this is a springboard to giving Caleb, some confidence, saying, I should have beaten these fuckers twice. I love he signed that card. The Packers suck. Like this guy, man, like I think he wants to get it done.
What do you think Virginia's legacy is really going to be among us diehard Chicago Bears fans? Clearly, the NFL is going to make her out to be, the first lady, the matriarch of the league, and so forth. But for those who have followed the Bears as closely as the three of us have, and most of the people in the chat, what do you think is going to be her true legacy?
Hey, we all. I'm going to give you the shortest answer I can give you, but all of us are, we'll be like, yeah, we should have won more Super Bowls, blah, blah, blah. That story's been told 1,000 times. I get it. They should have won more Super Bowls than one. But her legacy should be on her watch because, when Muggs died in, 79, there was a fight over the team. Who's going to get the team? She got the team, and God damn it, we won the Super Bowl. And arguably the best team of all time. And that is her legacy to me. Yeah, they didn't win enough. They only won one, but people are 40 years later are still talking about the Bears, and it's not just us meatheads who love the Bears. People will say, like, what your defense, or what are we playing, 85 Bears over there? We can't score today? I mean, they're still talking about it. That should be her legacy.
Yeah.
That should be her legacy.
Interesting, because a lot of fans might disagree with you and say, like for instance, Mike North was.
I love Mike, by the way.
Yeah, and a lot of people doing that. I shouldn't say everybody because that would have been true, but a lot of people agree with Mike when he says that she was one of the worst owners in the NFL. What do you think about that?
I mean, like I said, we won the Super Bowl. I'd like to win more. Let's give her some credit. Mike's entitled to his opinion, of course, and I like all of his opinions, even if I disagree with them. It's fun to hear him. But I just think I like them, man. I do. Like when we hear her speak and she talk about lusting after the players and she loved her dad. I mean, regardless, we didn't win enough. I grant anyone who's going to say that, but I liked her. I like George. I know nobody likes George. I think George is cool, man. I think George wants to win, and hopefully now with this coach and I guess polls, they're going to be lined up, right? Did he sign an extension? Has that been affirmed yet?
It hasn't been affirmed yet, so
but it's probably happened.
Yeah, it's probably.
So now we got our guys. We got our guys. Let's go. Let's go. And I think maybe it was her death had something to do with them trying to force it in Chicago with the stadium. I don't know. That's conjecture, but. Either way, they're going to have a new stadium that hopefully it won't be like the one that opened up in 2003 when we're like, what is wrong with this architecture? Like everyone's hopefully going to be thinking it's state of the art and it's going to be the place to be. It's right by your house. And I think the Bears are on the upswing and it's too bad she can't be here to see it.
Yeah, I hear you. Before I let you and Tooch take your clothes off and wrestle around naked, I want to acknowledge Keith Lutz for his $5 donation. He writes, if you remember, Aldo, I vowed not to watch the Bears in 2025. I wanted Pete Carroll as coach. After watching the Bar Room, you guys have convinced me the Bears are on the road to success. And he's a nice $5 donation. So thank you, Keith. And if you want to see Tooch naked, no donation needed.
You can just watch a film.
Yeah, watch one of his old porno movies.
While they're still around, because everyone's trying to kill physical media.
Exactly. You're not streaming yet, your old movies, too?
I just got an OnlyFans.
I know you're dying to talk with Dan, so go ahead to ask him.
That's Ben Johnson's willing to cut his nuts off for a championship. Dan, what do you think about that?
I feel like my balls keep growing. I'm in my 40s now, and like they say, like guys, like our ears keep getting bigger. And
yeah, right.
but I think my goddamn balls, they need to stop fucking growing. There's something wrong with my testicles. So I can relate to that. I would cut some of the fucking size off my big elephant balls if it helped the Bears to win the Super Bowl. Absolutely. Sign me up with a plastic surgeon, make me have normal balls.
Yeah, the problem with that is it makes your penis look smaller and smaller and smaller.
I'm afraid if I'm going to end up shitting and my balls are going to be in the water sooner than later.
Dan's like, did you see that movie? It was Johnny Knoxville, Bad Grandpa, and he goes into that. He goes into that nudie bar or whatever, and his nuts are hanging down. Like, do you know that movie, Dan?
Oh,
I know
Dan
the film.
it.
I didn't see it. I
it's
love
one of the
De
funniest
Niro
movies of all time.
De Niro, Zac Efron, when
that's
Bad
the
Grandpa.
one I thought you were.
What's the name of the Johnny Knoxville one though? It's like something Grandpa too.
Yeah,
I know they're both similar in title.
Yeah. The Johnny Knoxville one's way funnier.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, man. That De Niro one's great.
I
That
love
was good, man. I've never laughed so hard as in the Johnny Knoxville one. That and This Is the End with Seth Rogen and James Franco and Jonah Hill.
Mhm.
I laughed my ass off.
Oh,
Dude,
love it.
So funny.
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Go ahead, Tooch. You were asking.
Yeah, what do you think about he's a coach? We never had a coach that's willing to cut his nuts off for a Super Bowl, Dan.
I like it.
I think Ditka would have.
And I got to where like I really was hating Detroit. Like the year before, I was like, you know what? Detroit hadn't won a playoff game since 1875 or something, other than Eric Kramer's game. So it's like, if they go to the Super Bowl, so be it. I'll root for them just because they're kind of like us, been losing for so long. But man, Dan Campbell as more the season went on, I was just like, this alleged steroid guy who's probably got the exact opposite problem with his balls, shrinking because of the syringe. He was just getting on my nerves. They kept trying to run the score up on everybody, man. So I thought, man, fuck the Lions and fuck David Montgomery's mouth and that fucking wide receiver. We had his brother on the team. Like, these guys talk shit constantly. So if we can hurt them by hiring their coach, okay, we'll take it. We'll cut his balls and hurt the Lions at the same time. Hopefully the Lions losing their DC will hurt them as well with the Aaron Glenn leaving.
Hey, Nikki's in the chat room, and
All
she
right.
writes, all I really see on the screen are hot guys. And I think she's talking about me.
Yeah, she's at work trying to listen
Is she
to it.
watching some other show?
Yeah, she's at work. She has this shit on at work.
I thought she was watching Tracker, when she said hot guys on the screen.
I'm starting to think Dan Campbell might not be that good a coach, Aldo.
Oh,
With
I've
now
been wondering.
we'll find out a little bit here after Ben Johnson's gone, and
Yep.
what, did Aaron Glenn leave too, or no?
Yeah, he went to the Jets.
He went to the Jets. Okay, well, you'll find out if he's the next season, if he really is that good a coach.
Yeah. We got the
Hey,
first
just
question.
random thought. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Aldo. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Share your random thought.
Random thought. I just read this before we went on. It just popped in my head. Jimmy Johnson is resigning from Fox.
Oh, yeah. He was getting up there, man.
Yeah, I guess they'll probably give it to Gronk. because he filled in for him a lot. And I saw that Bradshaw said he's going to do it until he's 80, and I think he's like 77, 78. So
80 can't come soon enough, man.
Lots of changes at Fox.
Yeah, a lot of changes at Fox. Mr. Shorty wants to know, will you suck Aaron Rodgers' dick for a Super Bowl win if Rodgers is the quarterback of the Giants?
I just hope he's not the quarterback of the Vikings, man. I don't want to play him twice a year. That's something I just don't want to deal with. He can go to the Giants, and that's fine. To go to the Giants, if I have to blow him for a Super Bowl, let's go.
I still want to kick his ass. When I get buried 6 feet under or get incinerated, whatever the hell happens to me, I will not go away totally satisfied unless we take Aaron Rodgers and drag his ass through Soldier Field and then kick his ass and say, who do you own now, motherfucker? Because that's where I'm at with him. He annoys the shit out of me, and I just want the Bears to beat the fuck out of him.
I thought it was great that he was gone. I mean, I know that he was still in the league. I didn't watch a lot of Jets games, if any at all. I don't know if I've watched one game of his in totality since he's gone to New York. Of course, that was just last year, because the year before he was gone in week 1. So I don't know, man. I just want him to stay away. I don't want to have to.
Giants
if we play him
schedule next season,
if we play him one time, that's fine. I don't want to have to like play him like two times a year for like 3 years until he retired. I just don't want to deal with him.
You remember the last time we played the Giants? 29-3, January 2nd, 2022.
That's right.
Right, and their running back just won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. That's got to make them sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, Dan, I've hit superstardom. There's a guy pretending to be me. and I want to tell him
it's an Aldo Burner account?
Yeah, that's an Aldo Burner account. And I want to praise this gentleman, whoever it is. I got a feeling I think
probably Don Burr.
Because he picked a really nice picture of me. But you're right, Aldo, my doppelganger.
That's not nice, though. I don't think your football philosophy sucks.
Well, he was on the Gray Bureau show today and just said Aldo's under Aldo. He says, I'm a terrible podcaster, which I thought was hilarious.
Did you ever tell anyone how hard it was to get that jersey to you?
No, tell them the story. This is a Christmas gift from Dan.
Aldo and I were talking. I was like producing a high school championship game in December on the radio. I was producing a game, and he said something about he got something for me. I was like, oh man, I got to get something for him then. And I was like, who do I get? I didn't want to buy a jersey and it would end up being a player that somebody else could have bought him. I was like, I want to get somebody low key that he would be like, oh, that's cool, you know? Yeah. So I thought Kyler Gordon. So I ordered the shit, got it shipped to him on 2-day, paid for the extra stuff. And then he opens it and they sent him a small. Fucking small. The order even said extra large in the paperwork. He sent me the text. And so now I got to ask him to do me a favor. I'm like, can you please go mail it back for me? So now his Christmas gift is a fucking errand. He has to mail it back, and then they sent him the right one. And I felt so bad that they sent him the wrong size. Yeah. Their order even said extra large, and they sent him a small.
Well, didn't Dan leave a jersey in a hotel room too?
Tell him.
It got mailed back. It got mailed back.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I had to fight for that, but it was Justin Fields. Now I should have said, just leave it. Fuck it.
Did I lose, Dan?
No, I'm here. Are you here?
I think Aldo froze.
Yeah, he's got a great smile.
There he is. He's back now.
Yeah, he froze with a big smile.
Yeah, a couple times. He's freezing on and off.
What do you all think? I know we're bouncing around. It's just like it's so good to be back with you, but Fields is probably going to be on his third team. It's just like, who would have thought, like when he was running around like crazy and scoring and 1,000 yards, like who would have thought like this dude's going to be on his third team in 3 years? It's just so unfortunate for him. I really did like him,
Yeah, I did too. But I'm a big Caleb fan too.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sorry. Am I okay now?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. What were we saying? Oh, you were going to share the story of the jacket that you left at a Cleveland hotel.
Oh, yeah. Because see what it was.
It was a Fields jersey, though, no?
Yeah, it was the Fields jersey and a starter hoodie.
Okay.
Okay,
And-
starter hoodie.
Yeah, so it was a throwback style hoodie. So they were both important to me. And they wouldn't let it, like, we were walking to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and like the what's the word? You know, you pay them to park your car. The valet. The valet wouldn't let us carry, like, you know, they're like, no, we'll put your shit behind the counter and then we'll load it for you or whatever. They wouldn't let me just do it myself. And then they fucking left my stuff. And so I was like, you know what? I don't think I saw my jersey in the back. So we're like all the way back to Canton, and I realized that my shit's gone. It's not there. So I called Aldo, and he's traveling. I'm like, look, I'm not trying to bother you, but like, whenever you get a chance, call this hotel because I need my shit back. No, and then the weirdest stuff happened. If anybody was listening back then, we told this thoroughly. Then suddenly their phone system went down for a week. I'm not making this up. You couldn't call them, or they wouldn't answer the phone. And it took me, like, I ended up having to speak to like the boss because they kept saying they were going to mail it, and then they didn't. And it's been like 2 weeks. I was like, look, I paid. I did everything. They wanted me to pay for the ship. I was like, fuck, I'll pay for the shipping. It's fine, you know? And then I was like, just ball it up. I don't give it. Just put it in. Because they were like, we don't have a box big enough. I was like, just ball it the fuck up. Just put it in the smallest box possible. Just I don't care if there's knots all in it and it needs iron.
Man.
And then finally they mailed it to me. But I had to fight for that shit, man. And like I said, I thought Fields was going to be our answer. I was like, I got to have my Fields jersey.
Do you remember the name of the hotel, Dan? Because we should
it had Cleveland in the title.
Yeah,
it was a really, really tremendous hotel. It was super nice. But yeah, they did not want to help me.
The service at the front desk was fucked up. It was just
they did not want to help me get my shit. I don't know if it's just because it was Bears or what. They did not want to help.
They could not pack and ship for shits.
No shit. And I got there the night before Dan got there, and so I want to valet park my car, and they tell me there are no parking spots available because of the concert across the street. And I go, hey, when I booked this room, it came with a parking spot.
And you were billed for it in advance.
Exactly. And so they tell me, well, sorry, there's just nothing we could do. There is a parking lot about 5-6 blocks away. And so that's when I lost it. You're telling me I got to fucking, because I got that stupid Puerto Rican temper of mine. And
that's what I hate about staying downtown places, hotels.
Yeah.
In the city, I've gone through that before too, where it's like.
But it was a super spacious suite that we were in. It was like, and then it was walking distance to the stadium, so all that was cool. But the service was fucked up.
I think I've had my feel for Cleveland. Like I said, I went back in 2023. I always liked Cleveland, the town, but man, those Browns fans were assholes to us that first game, and then again in 23. So I don't think I'm going back to their fucking stadium. Yeah, I'm glad that they've got a pervert as a quarterback.
We got the Browns on the schedule next year too. Next season.
Oh, at Cleveland, is it?
No, it's in Chicago.
I don't think. Yeah, it does. It's in Chicago. Yeah,
we should go to that game, Dan, and call Cleveland for friends, gay and stuff.
Yeah, it'll be in Chicago.
I don't think I'm going to make it there this fall. I got
you can get your revenge on the Cleveland fans this next game.
I think my next Bear game would be in 2026 because I'm trying to get shit in order to buy my first ever new vehicle. I've only owned 2 vehicles my entire life. I had one for 17 years, and I've had one for 10 years now.
But you're not that far from Cincinnati, right?
No, I'm going to Cincinnati.
Okay, next season the Bengals.
I'm going to Cincinnati to see some Reds games. I mean, this year.
Oh, but the Bears will be playing in Cincinnati next year.
Oh yeah, but I want to come back to Chicago. I want to take my wife to the Bears game. Yeah. She's never been in the city in Chicago, so I definitely. Plus, man, I love. We can say what we want about Soldier Field. I love being at Soldier Field. Just the walkway. I mean, I hate that fucking bus that you have to ride. I hate that.
The Cook County jail bus?
Yeah, the jail bus. Like, you've been looking at photos that absolutely were minors. Get on this bus. But I like every other aspect of it. I love being in the stadium. I love fucking bear down when we score. Like, all of it, man. I love Jim Cornelison being there singing that national anthem. I can't get that anywhere else. And I love that everyone there, for the most part, is rooting for the Bears and not talking shit to me.
Yeah,
we've got the Eagles, Super Bowl champion Eagles next season too. Dan,
they're fans.
Was there talk of of that being the first like Thursday game of the season? Okay.
Yes.
I'm not going to Philly. Not going to Philadelphia.
Neither would I. But
Philadelphia fans are, I hate to say it, but they're assholes. They're big time assholes. I mean, they've come to Soldier Field and made my experience at my home stadium unpleasant.
Wow.
And you're surrounded by them. So I know if I throw a punch or do something stupid, I'm going to get killed. It'll be my last game.
Did you watch the Super Bowl, Dan?
I'm glad they won the Super Bowl. I don't like the Eagles either. Don't like the Eagles either, but I've always said I've watched one game in Mahomes' career when he got blitzed, or I guess they weren't blitzing. They were just bringing top four. I've watched one game where he was getting pressure. That was the Super Bowl loss to Tampa. I was like, why won't anyone mimic this? And then finally they brought the house and just, I mean, it was like 40-6 in the fourth quarter. I was hard the whole game until they started scoring late. I just hope Kelsey and Taylor Swift break up and just get the shit over with, man, because otherwise the league's going to try to put them in there again.
I don't see that. Tooch, do you believe that the league is purposely trying to get the Chiefs into the Super Bowl because of the popularity of Taylor Swift?
That's what Terrell Owens said, an NFL Hall of Famer. Terrell Owens.
He said, Terrell Owens has said a lot of stupid things in his life.
Well, I mean, it would make a lot of sense, but I don't know. I mean,
that's a tough one to do a conspiracy like that.
I mean, but a lot of people were talking about it this go around. I've been saying this shit for since the Taylor Swift shit started. It was against the Bears. The first game was against the Bears. Yeah, you remember we lost like 51-3.
The first half they killed us,
and they just kept like Greg Olson was on the mic and he was like, "Well, my favorite album is 1959, whatever that album is by Taylor Swift." It's like, no, it's not. And they kept showing her like, we're losing, so I'm already mad. They're not even showing the plays. They're just showing Taylor in the booth. I'm like, he's beating off to her. That's when this phenomenon started. So I've been talking about this for like 3 years. I've been talking about this for 3 years. Now everyone was talking about it. So this shit started with me on this podcast.
What about the news that Khalil Mack may want to come back to Chicago? Your thoughts? You've been an ardent critic of Mack. What do you think about that now?
Can you believe he was the 60th best Bear ever in that 2019? Oh my God! Like the guy had one really good game in week one.
Yeah.
Then remember they're like, well, he's like saving it. He's a little banged up, and then the playoff game comes around. He has no pressures, no tackles, no sacks, no anything, and then that just carries over to 19 and 20 and 21. It's just like he's a reputation player. Well, he played really well at the Raiders, and by God, we have to pretend he's great with us. If he comes back and actually gets pressure, then I will love him. But if he just comes back and the backup tight end is stopping him, and then all the Bears fans say he was triple teamed, he was quadruple teamed on every play. It's like we had to lie to protect this guy, powder his fucking balls and hug him and say that even you, Aldo, who disagreed with me on this for the most part, even when you said, oh man, he only makes splash plays against the reserves. Yeah. He only beats backups.
Or rookies, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, and he's even older now, but
he'll be 34.
On paper, it seems like if he would come back, you'd be like, oh, that could get extra pressure. We'd like that, but let's see it. I mean, he had one super game with the Chargers in week one. It's like 6 sacks in a game, and he finished the year with 7, I think. So,
he had 6 sacks last year.
He
made the Pro Bowl, his 9th Pro Bowl.
Well, he made it this year in 2024, the last season.
They just put him in there because of who he is. I'm telling you.
One thing about his return, according to Chris Emma, is that he doesn't want to come back as the star. He just wants to be a pass rush specialist. Bring him in on third downs, like the Colts had a lot of success.
Third and long.
Robert Mathis,
or the Packers with Peppers.
Yeah, right. So, I could see a role like that. It will limit, the chances of him getting injured. He's not a talkative guy, but he is a locker room presence. He would teach the younger guys like an Austin Booker how to play the position. If you get him for well under $10 million, $6 to $8 million, I'm for it. But at anything.
Can I suggest this though?
Sure.
If for some reason Ryan Poles would be watching us right now, which let's say it's probably not happening, but let's just say he was, dude. When it comes to linebackers, can we just re-sign TJ Edwards first? He's got one more year left, and that he averages like 15 tackles a game. Like that dude is a monster. And so he's got one more year left. I want to re-sign TJ Edwards, and then Edmonds hasn't been that big of a success. If you can get TJ done, and then go ahead and bring Khalil in if you want. So yeah, Gordon needs to be re-signed as well. I feel like the other safety who's always hurt, I don't know if we can bring Brisker back or not.
Yeah, that's worrisome, and then the other safety is now about 32, 33 years old. So we've got to start loading up or reloading at that position. Not that Brisker can't be a long-term answer, but there's just no way you're going to give him a contract extension this year. He's going to have to play 16, 17 games in 2025 for the Bears to comfortably offer him a contract extension.
Well, Bayard had a great hit on Green Bay at the end of the season. Help me out. What's his name? Number 10.
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love, man. He hit Jordan Love and put him out of the game. It was fan-fucking-tastic.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it, seeing him get hit. The thing about, like you said, if you look back at the end of the year, who would have seriously thought when Brisker had a big-ass hit against Carolina,
mm-hmm.
and it just was like, ooh, look at that. He's bringing the wood. He's Doug Plank, he's Mike Brown. He's a big hitter. And who would have thought at that moment, this dude won't play another down this season? Or conversely, after we beat Jacksonville, nope, they will not win another game for 3 months.
Jeez.
It's unbelievable how look, I know his health is paramount, but he couldn't come back for the rest of the year. That was like week 5.
Well, I got a little inside information. It's not obviously confirmed because it hasn't gone public, but someone within the organization has said that he was ready to play 3, 4, 5 weeks before the season was up. And therefore, the implication is that because Brisker was on social media and saying some unpleasant things about primarily Eberflus,
right,
that as punishment, they, told him, we're going to keep evaluating you. And he actually on social media himself said that he was ready to go. This was like 3 weeks before the season. So why didn't, what happened? He never played. So it's suspicious. I think this was the organization letting him know, keep your mouth shut and don't criticize your head coach during the season.
Well, apparently the Bears themselves thought he was the worst coach in the league. You saw that document that come out. All the people thought he was. Wasn't he ranked the 32nd coach or something?
Yeah.
Yes, he was. Yep. Rightfully so.
The players ranked him 32nd.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was our head coach.
Yep. There he is.
Good for him. Good for him for making. He's got money to the until he dies, man. Good for him, but good for us that he's gone. I'm sorry.
Might be the worst coach in Bears history.
No.
Right?
No.
Jim Dooley,
Jim Dooley, Abe Gibron,
Matt Nagy, Mark Trestman.
Trestman.
I would have Trestman third.
Well, at least with Trestman, at least they were scoring points.
Yeah, right. It was a high-powered offense.
Yeah, with I don't know if we did anything well when he was the coach.
Yeah, that's true.
I like that Ben Johnson's saying that he likes Swift. I thought Swift was low-key really good this year. I know he didn't get 1,000 yards, but he was playing with a terrible offensive line and would just break long runs out of nowhere. And I think we didn't give him as fans give him enough love. I thought Swift had a very good year against 8, 9-man fronts. It felt like because there was nobody blocking. And I like that Ben Johnson says we can work with him. We want it because I think Swift's got a lot to give.
I think you're right. I think he can be a really valuable player under this offense. what I'm concerned about is we've got to get a complimentary back for him. And the good thing is that this year's draft has tons of really good players. Yep. Dan, I don't know if you know the name Cam Scatterboo. This guy is like John Alstead, and I know you love power backs.
Yeah, you mean the guy from Tampa, right?
Right. Yes, he's just he
I
reminds
like big
you
backs.
of him.
But Roshan did some good work. Let's not count him out.
He was great on the goal line, Roshan.
He was. It's just he's gotten hurt his 2 seasons too. Yeah. He runs with his head low, and so he gets dinged up concussion wise. So I think we need some depth at the power back position.
He's offensive Jaquan Brisker.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want them to use that first pick on a running back.
No way.
No.
Maybe
there's lots of talk.
If you told me safety, I might be able to buy into it, but I really want of course, free agency's next week. Perhaps they sign some quality offensive linemen, but on paper right now, both offensive and defensive line need to be the number one things that we address this year. Even if we come back with the same safeties, we can't come back with the same line on either side.
No. We need 4 offensive linemen, basically. Yeah. At least 3.
Yeah, because Braxton is going to be hurt until like August, right?
It could go well into training camp, yes. So the other thing
it's a bad draft for tackles, though, Danny.
Yeah.
Break out the checkbook next week.
Well, and it looks like, according to Greg and some other reports, that Aaron Banks of the San Francisco 49ers, he's a guard, but could be coming to the Chicago Bears. What do you know about Aaron Banks, Dan?
I don't know anything about him. I just know San Francisco looks like after the Samuel trade that they're just cashing in and saying this run's over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, the Niners have to sign Brock Purdy, and so they got to free up some money. And Banks is kind of a so-so player, but
I wouldn't be surprised if they brought Rodgers out there and told Brock to go fuck himself.
Really?
I mean, do you think? I mean, I know he went to the Super Bowl, but everybody thinks the experts always say he's a system quarterback. He's a game manager. I mean, and they could bring Aaron Rodgers home.
Aaron Rodgers is a system quarterback too. His system. He can't.
Brock
he
Purdy
can't
makes
do
a lot
anything.
of plays.
Yeah, he does. And Rodgers, plays that old Mike McCarthy offense. He'd be perfect if McCarthy was still in the league somewhere. He'd be perfect to join Mike up. But he doesn't like motion or all the things that are in now with offenses. He just doesn't like doing it. He's such a egotist. I don't know. I don't think San Francisco will go there, but you never know.
I think the Bears have to make a play for Ronnie Stanley or someone like that. There's just not any good tackles in this draft, left tackle at least. It's just a bad draft. I'm with J2K. I think Josh Simmons is probably the best left tackle in this draft. But, I mean, again, Poles is you're taking a chance on a guy that, tore his ACL in the season.
What do you think about going into the season with Karan Amagaje and Braxton Jones as your left tackles and letting them fight it out? You'd rather bring somebody else in, a third person?
I'd rather Larry Borum start than look, 72. I can't say his name right.
Amagaji?
Look, I liked what he said beforehand. Like he told them, you're going to draft me next year. I love that pre-draft story. And he's talking about how he was going to dominate and all that. And I saw nothing positive from him. And that could have been the coaching staff. And maybe, he has one banged up. He could have one shitty year and then come back and be really good. But I didn't see anything that would make me think this guy could start at left tackle. When he was in, it was bad.
But you got to remember that he didn't have any preseason whatsoever.
Yeah, he was injured.
His last college football game was in October, so he had that long. This was an indictment on Poles, the fact that you had to play him because the veterans that you acquired during the season, during off the season, were so putrid that he was forced to go in there. Of course, injuries is the main reason.
Was it Ryan Bates was injured?
Ryan Bates.
Bill Murray got injured.
He's going to get cut, right?
There was the Canadian kid that was in his underwear in Hard Knocks. He was injured. He was a tackle.
That's right, he was.
And then
forgot about that.
Nate Davis got cut.
Nate Davis is gone. I mean, it was a terrible season for our offensive line last year. It was just decimated by injuries and just people that couldn't play.
At least Matt Pryor was that kick I talked about to start the show with Santos. If you go back and watch that, they like illuminate the player that blocked the kick at Soldier Field.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh God, as soon as they did that, I was like, is he going to block it again? But they put big ass Matt Pryor there. He was like 6'7", and he wasn't able to block it. So for that, I'm going to say, thank you, Matt Pryor. So he can stick around as a reserve is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you can do worse than Matt Pryor as a reserve. You just don't want him starting, more than 3 games. You don't want him the whole entire season. And then they had to move the guy up and down the line. Jesus.
Maybe the dumbest call. I know I'm bouncing around. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
Maybe the dumbest call all season, though, was that, and it's not even his fault, when they tried to run the ball with Kramer against Washington. It's just like, you got a guy that's like scoring every time you give him the ball at the goal line in 23 and Roshan, but let's give it to Doug Kramer.
I know, right?
And at least Caleb led another drive to come back and take the lead and should have won.
With 16 seconds to go.
God, but the Doug Kramer play, I mean, his whole season was ruined by that fumble, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. He didn't report one time, too. He didn't report.
That's right.
Oh, man.
Later in the season, that's right.
That was awful. It's just like, can this dude do anything right?
Yeah. Well, he can't play center. You don't ever see him play center.
I mean, it sucks that we need offensive line, and it's really not that good of a draft for offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anybody there has got to be better than what we've had, though.
Yeah. Now, Dan, I know you don't follow college football. I want to present this scenario to you. The best left tackle in the college football draft, a surefire hit, is Josh
If
Simmons.
he didn't get injured, he'd be a top 5, top 10.
That's the problem. After the sixth or seventh game of the season, he got injured, and he probably will not be fully healthy until training camp sometime. Would you risk your first-round draft pick on a guy who has an injury after what Poles has done drafting injured players?
Well, before him, Chris Williams and from the bad back from Vanderbilt, and what was the white guy's name in like 2010?
Gabe Karimi.
Yeah, Karimi. So we've been there before, folks.
Mark Colombo.
He got hurt at Champaign, I think, is what hurt him. But in 02, Chris Williams is the worst
Thomas.
one. Oh, God, Stan Thomas. Stan Thomas stands the time 35 years later, still maybe the worst draft pick we've had in the first round. And that's saying something.
Remember Troy Auzine?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he was like a second-round left tackle. He got injured too.
Yeah,
and our best tackle came from defense from that era, and Big Cat Williams.
Yeah, SCS. That's a huge question. Although I'm glad you brought it up because it depends on. I mean, if they don't get a guy in free agency, they might have to draft. Something in some kind of tackle in the draft.
Let me ask you all the same question. I want to hear both of you. In recent times, we were told like a couple of years ago that the cat that was in Miami that went to the Texans that got in trouble because he smoked weed. What was his name?
Laramie Tunsil.
Well, we couldn't draft him because he smoked weed. Okay, so we couldn't draft him. Right. We couldn't draft the guy that just won a Super Bowl with Philly. We couldn't draft him because, we spent a day with him and he didn't look like he, regretted leaving the scene of a car accident or whatever. So we always make these excuses to not take a chance on players that should, in theory, help us. So my answer, I would say, if this guy's as good as everyone says, and you are telling me, then take the fucking pick, take your shot. But what do you all think?
I'm starting to come around on it too, and I was starting to come around on trading up for Abdul Carter too. Aldo talked me into that one too. But I mean, I think wasn't Carter injured? Now?
Yeah, they discovered a slight fracture in his foot, and he doesn't need surgery. He's going to play the season, so he's not going to really miss any time. But do you really want to draft a guy who on his plant foot, and he's a speed rush? Yeah, exactly. We've seen that before with Kevin White, the wide receiver.
Right.
Oh, it's just a little. No, thank you.
No.
And the Bears just kept lying about it. Oh, he's going to be fine. He's on pup. He's going, and then like the 3 days before the rosters get set, he's on IR. He's out for the whole year.
So what do you think, Tooch? Would you go for Simmons then?
I mean, obviously, we have to kind of, like Greg Gabriel said, we have to wait until what happens in free agency. But I mean, we're obviously not getting Trey Smith because he's been tagged. The other guy, was it Fries? The other guard in Indianapolis. I mean, he kind of had like 5 really good games. Though, like before that, he's coming off an injury too. He's we don't know if he's really that good. He only has a few games that he was, had, some good play, good tape. But if we still had Todd Berger, we could have Berger and Fries. So that would be good.
That's good.
Where's Blake Brockermeyer when we need him?
Right.
See, I'm worried about acquiring Josh Simmons. Now, I would, of course, you got to go with what the doctor says. If the doctor says, don't worry about it, it'll be fine, then you got to, he's on staff. You got to take his word for it. Now, if the doctor says, I'm not sure, to be honest with you, anything happened, then I might be cautious. He's the best left tackle, but you got needs up and down the offensive line. So here's my scenario. If you could trade back to 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 is the Seahawks. And if Josh Simmons, because of injury concerns, starts to fall, then maybe you pick him up then. And then now you've got an extra second round pick. So you'll have 3 second rounders where you can get reinforcements at the offensive and defensive line. I kind of like that scenario, but my heart says don't risk it. No.
Yeah. I kind of agree with that, Aldo. I mean, if there is no other good left tackles. I mean, I think I like that Membo kid, but I like Greg Gabriel said, he's raw.
Yeah.
But man, he really looks like a guy who could play on the left side, if you gave him like a year or so. Yep. He's never played left tackle, but man, he just gets in there and he's got good movement to block, great pass protection. But I mean, again, that's a projection. Whereas Josh Simmons, you're projecting is he going to recover from his injury?
Right, not to change the subject, but I just thought about what I said. Stan Thomas may be the worst pick in the last 35 years at number 1, or in the first round for the Bears. And if Mike is listening for some reason, can we say it's Trubisky now?
I can.
I mean, is he the worst? Is he the worst, like in the modern era?
I would say, because
of where he was so high, second overall.
You're trading up from 3 to 2. That makes it even worse, And Deshaun Watson might like fingers up his ass, but that would have been the smarter pick. And of course, a lot of people know my stand on Patrick Mahomes. I loved him in college and thought he was the best quarterback coming out.
The 83 draft is the one that all the big quarterbacks came out of, but Kansas City drafted Todd Blackledge. I mean, it feels like we drafted Blackledge, and then you've got Marino and Elway and Jim Kelly all right there.
Yeah,
that's so good too. Wasn't the 83 draft also the draft where we drafted Richard Dent like in the 7th or 8th round?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow, look at that, man! What a pick! He would have been an undrafted free agent in today's NFL. And the big thing with him is Ditka says the story with Dent is that he had rotten teeth, and once they got his teeth fixed, he started eating and became this mammoth human being, was still with the same athletic skills as opposed to the skinny kid that they drafted. Man,
he used to call him Robert too when he wasn't playing well. Richard was good. Robert was no good. Right. You called Robert if he had a bad game or whatever.
Yeah, he thought that Dent didn't exert enough effort at times. But I'm telling you, if he doesn't break his leg against Green Bay, of course, I think we beat San Francisco in the title game that you were at, too, which I think we win and go back to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Well, we're getting some interesting names.
Oh, Cedric Benson, the late Cedric Benson. That's a good one. I will respond to Curtis. Curtis Enos got a catastrophic injury in his first year. Yep. He tore his knee up. I don't know if that's fair on him, because he got hurt.
What about McNown, Cade McNown?
That's another good one. Maybe I think McNown was 12th. Maybe if you consider Cade, even his spot versus Trubisky being at 2, maybe you do have to say it's Cade McNown because he only made it 2 years in the league, period.
Mm-hmm. And somebody said that Trubisky did take us to the playoffs. Who was it?
Twice.
Yeah. Twice. That's right. That 8-8 season.
Hey, we got there though.
Yeah. See, that was Scrooge. Scrooge says Trubisky made the playoffs. Bustin Fields was a worse pick. You think Bustin Fields was a bad pick, or did the Bears betray him by not giving him support?
No, Justin. I'm an apologist for him, but I think that he was superior in talent over Trubisky. I think
so too.
But we just 100%. Let him down, man. We just didn't know what we had. It's like we put a cheap engine in a sports car here or something, you know?
Yeah. He did, have problems, of course, processing and so forth, just like Trubisky did. But he just, the eye test to me was that Fields was a much better quarterback than Trubisky. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yep.
Where are your thoughts, Dan, with Caleb Williams right now? Are you how many Caleb Williams jerseys do you have?
I have all the Caleb Williams jerseys. The only time that I was just like, I'm like, dude, man, I told you in text, Ron, who I don't know where Ron disappeared to. Ron stopped talking to me. Ron was like, we need to start talking on the phone every week. He's like, you and I should be great friends. I'm like, let's do it. And then he stopped responding to all my texts. But Ron's,
I hope he's okay.
Ron's grandma died the night of that Seahawks game. She was watching the game and died in the fourth quarter. And Ron himself even joked or was, even though his grandma died, we both were like, man, Caleb Williams killed your grandma tonight. Because it was such a dreadful, listless performance. Like, I don't know what. It's like he took NyQuil before the game or something. It was falling asleep. Like, he looked lost against the Seahawks, but then came back and played inspired against Green Bay. But that Seahawks game, that's the only one all season where I turned on him and was like, dude, if you don't want to be in there, then put fucking West Virginia in there. Put Bajan in there if you don't want to play. It looked like he did not want to play against Seattle. That's the only time I turned on him, but not overall. Just that one night, I was like, dude, what are you drunk? You sleepy? What's happening? He just did not want to be in there that night. It was like that infamous game in Chicago when the Falcons came in. It was really cold, and Michael Vick was like, I don't want to play today. Or when Brett Favre said that, he was like, it was so cold. I've never just not wanted to play. I didn't want to play today. He admitted that as his last game there as a Packer.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's the way Caleb looked that night. Like, dude, wake up. Somebody like you need like Burgess Meredith to come and cut a promo. And it's like, like he's Rocky and slap him or something and tell him to get up, you son of a bitch, because he loves you. Something.
Michael Vick was the same way. He came here one time and it was freezing cold.
Yeah, no 5, and he did not want to play.
He did not want to play.
Yeah.
D. Starren had that comment there about how many first round busts. I mean, that's why we haven't won a Super Bowl in 40 years, D. Starren. We just haven't drafted well in the first round, man.
Or when we do, like Wilbur Marshall, great pick, one of the greatest picks in the history of the franchise. We're like, well, we don't want to pay him. We're just going to let him walk.
Yeah.
It's just like, dude, if you keep Wilbur there, the Bears also probably win another Super Bowl. If you keep he and Singletary teamed up. And then you should keep him anyway because Mike was a little longer in the tooth at that point. And then he becomes your guy.
Although I would argue that free agency this offseason might be more important than this draft. Because if he doesn't get it right, I mean, I wouldn't normally say this, but we have like 3, maybe 4 holes on the offensive line. He's got to get this right, especially on the offensive line. If he doesn't, you're going to, like Greg Gabriel said today, he said, do you really want to go in with like 2 rookies at guard, or whatever somebody would say, or a rookie at center, rookie at guard.
Right.
It's just not going to work out,
Right. You got to bring in a couple of really good veterans, guys.
You got to get Kevin Zeitler,
Kevin Zeitler would be perfect.
1 or 2 year deal. He knows the system. He's, played for the Lions last year.
Right. So there's a guy, Dan. He's 36 years old. He was the right guard for the Lions last season. Came in and filled in for somebody. He's a solid player, and of course, having played for Ben Johnson, to me, he should be a shoo-in to sign.
That makes me scratch a little bit. I start thinking of Orlando Pace in 09.
No, it's not that bad. It's not at all. Orlando Pace, I think most football fans knew this guy is done. Why are the Bears bringing him in? He's had a Hall of Fame career. The Hall of Fame is over now.
What about the guy fishing, right? Jason?
Yeah, Jason, the guy from the Eagles. What was his name?
Peters?
Yeah, no. He played well.
Right.
Yeah, he did.
He was 40. He was fishing.
Yes, he was in a fishing boat when he got the call. Yeah,
he did as well for us that year as anybody else on the team, though.
He did. He did. Who else? There was a veteran that just recently retired, I think a day or two ago. But yeah, we got to bring in some veterans, and then you got to supplement it with the young players. You got to get that pipeline of trench players, offensive and defensive line. You got to keep working it. And because of poor player assessment by Bears scouts and some poor signings, pro personnel and draft personnel, they've had some misses, and that's the number one reason.
Every year we get a center. Seemingly every year it's a new center. Lucas Patrick, we can go through all of them. They're all like near the bottom on the least paid centers, starting centers in the league. I want in June for the Bears to have the most expensive fucking center in the league. Like, this dude is going to be the center for 5 years. No more questioning.
Yeah.
It's not Creed Humphrey isn't a free agent, right?
No, he's not.
He's the highest paid center.
He's
right?
the highest paid center.
Well, let's have
arguably the best center.
Yeah.
Let's go number 2, the second highest paid center.
Yeah.
Get me a guy that you can't keep buying. I mean, like the guy what's his name that just played center for us this year? Coleman Shelton.
Shelton.
You can't blame him when he's like, I mean, they gave me $3.5 million and told me they wanted me to start. I mean, it's not his fault.
Absolutely.
We're putting players in there that shouldn't be starters.
Yeah.
And at some point you got to say, all right, we have to really invest in this position. Mm-hmm. And the Bears haven't done that. The last center we've had was Roberto Garza that was worth a damn. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
They signed Ryan Bates to play center last year. He was injured, right?
Yes, that's because he played guard. Because he played guard and center, the Bears thought that he was a valuable signing, but he was slated to be the starting center, which didn't make sense because Coleman Shelton, I don't think, has played the guard position. So you're signing somebody who's just the backup center, but it didn't matter because Bates, as you said, got hurt, and Coleman Shelton was the center. I think all 17 games.
I'd much rather have him than Cody Whitehair.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that.
Oh my God,
I do. It looks like there's a guy out of Atlanta named Drew Dahlman. Goddamn signal is weak tonight. Let me see if I can fix this.
No, you're back. You're
all right.
You. Well, now you're not.
Now he's pressing again.
Now he looks like he just saw like something like somebody's breaking in the house is what it looks like.
I think if the Bears, if they make some really good free agent signings, it'll give Poles a lot more flexibility in the draft, and he won't have to take picks out of necessity because we do, like you said, we need like almost a whole new offensive line. It's just. You can't go into off season, needing that much stuff. And every year, like you said, Dan, every year we always need guys.
Well, that 06 Super Bowl team, they got most of those other than Olin, of course, whom they drafted, but all 4 of the other guys that, Fred Miller and
right.
They were all brought in. Even Roberto Garza came from the Falcons, and let's see, Fred Miller. Who else did we have there?
Fred Miller's around. Didn't Olin break Fred Miller's jaw?
Yeah,
too?
and Reuben Brown.
Reuben Brown, he came riding on a Harley.
And John Tate.
That was a great signing. Tate.
All of them came from free agency or trades, other than Olin, and they rebuilt that line in one off season.
Yeah, and that's what they need to do this year.
Yeah, John Tate retired too early. That's what hurt us there too. Because
suddenly he didn't want to play. Yeah,
he was like 30 years old and was done.
We signed him to be a right tackle. We ended up playing left tackle for quite a while.
Yeah, well,
yeah. Yeah, one of the better free agent signings the Bears have made. He's back.
Or is he?
I see him now. There he is.
Did you guys miss me?
Yeah,
There
you
he
were
is.
frozen for a little bit there.
Yeah, I had to go to this other computer because my big computer is, for some reason, not finding the internet. So where were we?
We were talking about how the 05-06 Bears rebuilt their entire offensive line in like one offseason.
Yeah.
Because Olin Kreutz was the only one on that Super Bowl team that we drafted. We went through them. John Tate, Fred Miller, Reuben Brown. They were all, and Roberto Garza were all brought from other teams. So let's do that now.
Yep.
Yeah. I truly believe that you can rebuild an offensive line in a season or two. And, you know, for the Bears, it's a little more difficult because they've only got one returning starter, and that's Darnell Wright. So you're really talking about bringing in like two.
And let's not move him to left.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't mind the idea of moving him inside if you happen to get a really good right tackle. I agree with you. He shouldn't go to the left side because that's like telling somebody, okay, now bat lefty after you've been batting righty.
Which is what they did to Kyle Long.
Exactly.
And they did
and Tevin Jenkins.
And Tevin Jenkins.
Tevin.
Yep.
Especially Tevin. That was brutal because he went from being a Pro Bowl caliber right guard to a little about average left guard, in my opinion.
Yep.
But yeah, they've got to they can, you know, like the Lions are the perfect example. The oldest starter with the Detroit Lions is a first round draft pick from about 10 seasons ago. And so people say, well, you got to start, you know, a long time ago. Well, no, there are other examples of teams because of the money they have, because the draft picks they have, they can change an offensive line almost overnight. And the Bears have that opportunity this year. And it will be nobody else's fault other than Ryan Poles if he doesn't get this shit right. And we go into 2025 protecting our number one investment quarterback and also opening up holes for the big free agent acquisition, DeAndre Swift, and you're probably going to get a very valuable and talented running back in this upcoming draft. Because, Dan, there are some fucking running backs in this year's draft that are going to be
so many good ones, man.
Yeah, you could pick one on the third day of the draft, like in the 4th, 5th round, and be
undrafted free agents too. I'll bet you there's going to be some out there.
There's going to be
what
some
about Washington getting Samuel for a 5th round pick? Couldn't we offer him the 4th round pick and bring his ass here? Like, that dude's a stud.
That's a great topic. Do you think? See, I don't want to bring in a veteran because I want Rome Odunze to become that veteran this season. I want him.
They gave him away for nothing. Is my point. I mean, a 5th round pick.
Well, they're clearing salary cap to sign Brock Purdy. You know, they're going to have to sign him. Yes, the 49ers are clearing salary cap.
But Dan's making the point: shouldn't the Bears have invested their 5th round draft pick in Debo? What do you guys think?
I mean, even if they said, "Oh, we have to give a 4 then to beat Washington or whatever," we
don't have a 4 though. I don't think, do we, Aldo?
We don't have a 4.
We don't have a 4. But our 5th would be higher than San Francisco's, though.
Yeah, okay, well there you go.
But if you trade your 5th, right? So you don't have a pick for like 80 picks because you don't have a 4th rounder and you don't have a 5th rounder. That's my only concern.
This guy almost had them a championship, though. I mean, he was, you know, an integral part of that team. Like
he had
running the ball, catching the ball.
Yes, but he had a really bad season last year. It wasn't the typical Debo season. So, you know, are you
he had some injuries too. He's always injured.
All right. So if the consensus is let him go, what about? I know he's a little older and he's definitely bald. Are we going to try to bring back Keenan Allen because Caleb loves him?
He does, but we got to build that chemistry with Rome. I don't like Keenan there getting the second most targets. We got to use DJ, and we got to use Rome, and we got to use Cole Kmet, and then supplement that with younger guys that can develop and become the starters down the line. That's my feeling.
If he got a team-friendly deal, though, would come back, you wouldn't be interested? 2 years, you know, whatever. But just it looks like it's not a bad hit on the salary cap kind of deal.
I'd be more interested in trying to find a slot receiver with great speed who is going to open up everything underneath for the receivers, the other receivers and tight ends. That to me is a better plan than Keenan. Keenan is like Scottish Bear says, Keenan is too slow, and Ben Johnson wants speed. If you saw the Lions play it over the last couple of seasons, they like to get that ball real quick to playmakers who break tackles and speed down the field, and Keenan doesn't do that anymore. Keenan runs excellent routes, but he's not going to outrun anybody. That's my feeling.
He probably should shave his head. I told you I was watching the Bulls and Pistons in '88, and Jordan hadn't shaved his head yet. Oh my God. No one remember his head. He looked like Samuel L. Jackson with his bald pattern. It was bad. Or maybe like Keenan now. Like he didn't have the out and out horseshoe, but it was bad. Like Jordan went bald young. And I'd forgotten how bad his bald spot was. Ooh.
I got my Bulls polo on tonight, Dan.
That, man. That is nice.
Man, can I say, I'll do one NBA thing. I watched the end of the Lakers and Clippers the other night. And I just hate watching the Lakers wear purple at home. They should be wearing yellow at home or gold, whatever. I hate how they do that now. But James Harden is the biggest fucking overrated guy I think I've ever seen. In the last 2 minutes, he missed like 2 or 3 38-foot shots that were terrible that only Steph Curry could make in the league. And then he had 3 turnovers too, all within 2 minutes. I'm like, this guy needs to go, man. Everywhere he's been on like 12 teams now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the biggest, most overrated superstar I think I've ever seen.
What do you think about LeBron James the other day saying, people are being critical of this NBA? It's fine. I'm great. I'm the greatest player of all time.
Right.
He's starting to make me sick. And I like him.
I've never been a huge fan of his. I guess to me, his biggest accomplishment is coming back from 3-1 with Cleveland. And I'm happy for Cleveland finally getting the championship after he fucked them and left. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of LeBron. So, I mean, everyone knows his boy wouldn't be there if he weren't there. So, I mean, just the Nepo baby. I got to root against the Lakers. I don't like how the coaches don't wear suits now. Could you imagine like Pat Riley or Chuck Daly, these guys, or Phil Jackson that wore these great suits, having to wear like these little parkas or whatever the fuck they're doing now?
I didn't even know that. I have not watched an NBA game all season long. So
they do not wear suits. They wear little like team lapels or something. It's just like a little. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Well, and the other day I saw a picture of the press conference in Indianapolis. All the Chicago reporters, all of them look like they fucking slept in the clothes they had. I remember reading a book. It was called From Warsaw to Wrigley. It was written by a reporter from one of the newspapers in town. I think it was the Tribune, and I'm forgetting the reporter's name, but he shared stories about covering the war in Poland and therefore and thereabouts in Europe, and then coming to Chicago and then covering the Cubs. And one of the things that always stayed in my mind, he said, I was one of the only sports reporters who wore a suit coat and a tie every day. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to respect the profession of journalism. And I hate to sound like an old fucking fogey, but I agree with him that for journalists, that should be, don't fucking show up there with fucking jeans that look like you've owned them for 20 years. Dress professionally. Do I sound like an old fucking fat fuck?
I still have jeans from the early 2000s that I still wear, by the way.
I mean, too.
So there's your point. My Carl Kani's, I don't even think you can buy that brand anymore. I love my Carl Kani's. I got some Echo from like 2002 I still wear. I remember
Bugle Boy jeans. Remember that?
I don't have any of those. Buffon was giving me a hard time when we were leaving the Bears game. His brother and Heidi and I were walking around Chicago, and I had some Tommy Hilfiger shorts from like 2001, and he hit me with a couple jokes that were hilarious. about my 01 Tommies at the time. But anyway, I have a lot of pants from like what you're saying that these journalists are wearing. I have them. I'm wearing them now. So what am I saying?
Oh, that's hilarious. Did you?
But your point, if I worked on the beat, I should be dressed, is what I get it.
Yeah. I just think, I'm not saying you gotta wear a 3-piece suit that costs, $1,500. I'm saying,
I had I got this thing for Dan that I brought. It was like I don't know if you saw this Bears grid.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, this is great. I love it.
I wanted to ask Dan, like, here's you have the great player and loved by fans. They have Walter.
Everybody loves Walter.
How about an average player that was loved by fans?
For some reason, that fucking guy that's always doing the comedy bits, that Spice Adams.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
isn't he closer to a bad player than an average?
Yeah, he is, but he's loved for some reason.
He was all right. What about a bad player? Out? Yeah, well, you are, because you got the memory.
Yeah, you are.
But,
you are.
Well, as Aldo and I, if we remember some stuff, we'll suggest.
All right, loved by fans. Walter's perfect.
Yep.
Okay,
absolutely perfect.
I'm going to put Spice Adams up there then as the bad player. That.
I love it.
Let me think. An average player that. Oh, Tom Waddle.
Oh,
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And I love Tom. Again, that's the point.
Yeah, so do I. Yep.
But Tom would tell you he's not Jerry Rice, but he constantly worked hard and he was just catching ball, everything thrown to him. So I don't think that's an insult at Tommy at all. I hope not.
How about a great player, but fans are divided?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I would say like Brandon Marshall. Or is he hated by fans?
No, I think I love Brandon myself.
I liked him too, but some people didn't like him because he was kind of bipolar.
Right. I don't know if I'd call him great, because like to me, great's Hall of Famer, but he's definitely close. I'm going to say fans are divided on Jay Cutler as I'll put him in average though.
Okay.
Because
that's fair. Yep.
A lot of people like me loved him and a lot of people hated him. I think Jay's got to be on there.
Yep.
In terms of being divisive with the fan base, but fans are divided on a great player. Let me think.
Yeah. So where are you putting Jay?
Average player, fans are divided.
Okay, gotcha.
I think he's more than above average, but still, I can't call him great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree.
I'm going to say a great player that is fans are divided is Urlacher.
Oh,
yeah.
Definitely.
Yep. Definitely. Yeah, that's a good one. Yep.
So we'll go with Walter's loved universally and rightfully so. Fans divided on Urlacher. Hated by the fans. I can almost put Jay there, but there are a lot of people like me that like him. But again, I can't call Jay great.
Yeah.
Great player that's hated by the fans.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Come on, people. Steve Me says Mike Brown, loved by fans, great player. Yeah, that's a good one, Steve.
Yeah, Mike Brown definitely loved.
Yep, loved by fans.
Oh, I got another. I got it. Well, I already put average player. It's Tommy, but another guy that just fucking. I'm gonna. Well, I can't say that he's bad, but I already put the bad. Loved by the fans. Another guy I got to consider is Kyle Orton. Kyle Orton is like love. They're like, we don't need Jay Cutler. We'll go with Kyle Orton. He's 3 for 12 for 38 yards, but we'll take.
That's a good one.
God, I love Kyle Orton. He's got 6 touchdowns this season and 12 picks. Love me some Kyle Orton. No. But yeah, let's go back.
Why do those Bears fans sound like they're from the South?
That player loved by fans.
That's why I'm being facetious with it,
I like Kyle Orton, but he wasn't that great of a player. You're right.
Alshon Jeffrey is an interesting name.
Oh, yeah. I hate Alshon, especially when we went to the Eagles and beat us in that playoff game.
Yep, that's a good one.
So we're going to put Alshon as great. He's not great, though, right? He's average, right?
Yeah, average player hated by fans, yeah.
All right, I'll put Alshon in there. I'm forgetting which ones we still need to fill.
What about average or bad player fans are divided, Justin Fields?
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, he's very divisive.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Average player fans are divided is where I would go with that, yeah.
Yeah.
Who all's hated by the Bears fans though? Like
Chris Conte.
oh, I
Yeah,
hate Chris
yeah.
Conte.
So every
Hate Chris
bad player hated by fans. Chris Conte.
Oh God, that guy that went to jail. That was our wide
Oh
receiver.
yeah.
That was always like showing he had like his Armani diapers for his kid.
Sam Hurd.
No, Josh Bellamy. Oh, I hated Josh Bellamy.
What was the guy's name that went to jail for drugs?
Oh yeah, he's out now. The guy from the Cowboys.
Sam Hurd.
Sam Hurd.
Was that his name?
Bayless Jones.
Yeah. Bad player hated by fans. Bayless Jones is a good one. That's mine.
Josh Bellamy was well hated too.
Oh,
Great
I hated Josh Bellamy.
What was the name of that guy that was like an awesome special teams player? Then he sucked when he'd get in the games.
Oh,
He was a little wide receiver. God, what was his name?
Was that
From what era?
It wasn't too long ago. Maybe mid 2010s.
Let me think.
that
He was like a
and Braver?
yeah. I think it was Phil's guy. It was like a Josh Bellamy type. God, what was his name? It'll come to me later. Average player.
Sonsenbacher?
No, he was like a special teams demon.
Yeah, Jack Sanborn. That's a good one.
Yeah, Sanborn. Yep. Average player loved by fans.
J2K says he got shit for 3 years saying that Bayless sucked. He's proven right. I never thought that he sucked, but I didn't want to give up on Bayless Jones. But that first game against Tennessee when he botched that fucking kickoff.
Kill him. That's what I said.
Sorry, brother. I hate to say this, but I'm never going to vouch for you again.
Never.
Never.
Well, I don't even know what we need to fill in anymore because
Yeah.
Rick
That was fun though. Yeah.
First round pick.
Bad player hated by fans. Rick Meyer.
First round pick, and he didn't even throw one touchdown. You realize that 0 touchdown passes as a Bear for Rick Meyer.
Yep.
0.
Mike Glennon,
Incredible.
that's another good one too.
And we gave up a first round pick for no touchdowns.
Did we come up with a great player hated by fans?
No, I don't think so.
I can't think of anybody.
Yeah.
There's no way that there was a great player that was hated by fans. That's not something Bears fans do. Rex Gross, not.
I liked Rex, but he wasn't great.
Shane McMuffin. and you can't even find somebody in that category as a coach, like great coach, hated by fans. You know, Ditka is loved by fans, or at least divided.
I think for the most part, Ditka's beloved.
Yeah,
especially now that he's older and stuff. I mean, if this were 88, we could have an argument, I guess, like, he had the heart attack, he needs to sit down or whatever. But I mean, nobody's throwing shade at Mike now, right? He's like 88 years old or something.
Yeah, I'm laying off. I'm gonna be nice to Ditka. That was
I can't think of a great player that we would hate, though.
Yeah, I can't either. Because if we hated him, it's not because he was great. He was, he was probably a bad player. That's why we hated him.
Right.
Average, like guys like, remember Alonzo Spellman? I would put him under the category greatest disappointment in my life. This guy looked like a fucking Adonis, a football god.
So did Kevin White.
Yeah, Kevin White, another one. And, they had so much potential and acquired, but both of them, just were massive, massive disappointments. And the Bears have had a lot of those. Oh, Doug Flutie's name's come up. It's kind of hated by fans.
Yeah.
And he was great later. That's an interesting.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I agree with Steven.
Yeah, way to go, Steven. You finally said something worth putting up on the screen, Steven, me.
Doug, if you go back and watch that playoff game, he threw a touchdown to Galt, and the Bears were winning. The Bears were winning, and then like Kevin Butler always did, you come out and start missing like 3 field goals, and then we lost all the momentum to Washington.
Did I ever tell you my Doug Flutie story? I think I did. I was at an arcade, and Doug Flutie came in. And back then, they used to have this football game where the screen was football players, X's and O's. And the way you would throw the ball is with like a bowling ball thing that you had to spin, like what you do with Golden Tee, the golf game. And so I had probably wasted about $5,000 in quarters over a couple of years on that game. And so I'm thinking I'm pretty good. In walks Doug Flutie. He's taking a look at the game, and I say, "You want to play?" I put the quarters in. Motherfucker kicked my ass. I'm teaching him how to play the game, and he's fucking running around and with the ball, throwing it and shit. Just beat the shit out of me. And he had forearms that like the size of Popeye. And I'm like, holy fuck. It was so embarrassing because there was other people watching us and stuff.
It's so ironic. Again, we know that Doug came back and had a really good run with Buffalo. Mm-hmm. But do you think that Hail Mary that beat the Hurricanes, it solidified his Heisman Trophy, but it kind of hurt him early on in the league? Everyone thought he was just like, overloved because of that one play, and he didn't get any respect. Oh, he's a midget, and he threw that fucking Hail Mary against Miami, and it kind of hurt him for a long time, that play, which is so ironic because it was such a great throw in a situation at the end of the game to beat the Hurricanes,
That's a good theory. And by the way, Carl has an interesting name. Julius Peppers as a great player hated by.
Yep, I'm on there. Peppers got a huge contract as soon as free agency started and didn't do shit. He played better with Green Bay. And yes, I hate Adrian Amos too. Traitor.
I knew you'd like that one.
David Montgomery.
Rashid Davis. That was the guy I was trying to think of. His name. He was
Rashid
like
Davis.
He was the Josh Bellamy of the time.
Hey, we got to give Rashid credit. Remember 06 playoffs, Bears, Seahawks were in overtime, and Rex throws a seam route to Davis to set up Robbie's field goal. It was Rashid Davis who had the game-winning catch.
Right.
For real, I swear. Rex to Rashid, and then Robbie hit a 48-yarder to win.
Oh, wow. Bernard Berrien.
I loved Bernard Berrien.
One of your favorite.
I didn't want him to go. I didn't want him to leave, man. I thought he was our deep threat.
It was terrible when he left the Vikings. What players have gone from the Bears to division opponents that just crawled crawled up your spine? Like
David Montgomery.
Adrian Amos.
Adrian Amos.
What about McMahon? How come you're not upset about that, man?
Well, because by that time, McMahon, he went to San Diego and he was at Philly. And he was at the end of his day. I was like, you know what? If it gets him another ring, then so be it. I mean, it's like if he'd have gone there in '89, I would have been pissed.
McMichael play for the Packers too?
Yeah, but even McMichael said he was stealing money.
Yeah.
So these dudes are at the end of their career, like they're 37 or whatever, and about done. That's why I can look over McMichael or Jim McMahon in that aspect. Another one I didn't like. He went up there and won a Super Bowl with them, and then came right back to us. Was Ron Cox.
Oh, yeah.
We drafted him in 90 through 95. He's with us. 96, he wins a Super Bowl with them, and he's back with us in 97. Like, don't re-sign him. And I didn't want the Bears to sign Edgar Bennett either. I know that was bringing somebody in from another team, but I didn't want Edgar Bennett.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
That was Wanstead that brought Edgar Bennett in, right?
Yep.
Was Wani, yeah. Where would you put Brian Cox on this grid?
I loved Brian Cox. Fans are definitely divided.
Yeah. So average player fans are divided.
Yeah. I think he was a good player, though. Yeah, he was above average, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I put Tom Waddle there as an average player that people loved. And again, that's no insult to Tom Waddle. He's not a first-round pick, but he's a solid wide receiver for us.
Yeah, Brian Cox, man, I remember when he hit somebody, man, it was like, wow, he was like an explosion. He was a hard hitter.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he was.
Yeah, I
hear the crack.
And then he went on to coach for the Dolphins. He was on Hard Knocks one year, smoking a cigar and yelling at players and stuff.
He won a Super Bowl with the Patriots, I think.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think the team that beat the Rams, I think he was on that one.
Hey, what do you think about Bill Belichick coming back to coach college football, Dan?
It's amazing that he couldn't get another gig in the league. To me, I'm inferring, so it's not like I've spoken to Bill, but I would think that he took that job because he didn't think he was going to get one in the NFL.
I'm surprised there aren't more conspiracy theories like that Goodell doesn't want him back because of infractions that he's made in the past and the NFL had to cover up and stuff. And he knew Goodell would never let him back. Sort of like with John Gruden, although Gruden's offense is arguably more offensive, the email text with racist and homophobic comments. But Deflategate with Belichick, the camera.
The videotaping.
Yep, videotaping the other teams.
So
Didn't Harbaugh get in the same kind of trouble for recording team practices?
At Michigan, there's a really good documentary on Netflix or one of the streaming services on that whole topic. And wow, Harbaugh looks like he is so fucking guilty of having fucked that up. They interviewed the actual guy that was shooting the video, and they actually caught on the sideline of the opposing team. He was a Michigan assistant coach in charge of analytics or something like that. And so he worked his way over to the opposing team's sideline, got a hat, and pretended to be part of the coaching staff. And meanwhile, he had like glasses that were able to video record stuff because he was focused on getting signals from the guy sending the signals in. What a fucking crime that was! And
George Allen would have died of a massive stroke at like age 35 if he was in this era.
That's right, he would have. You ain't kidding.
That dude was so concerned about Dallas stealing his signals in 1970, no less.
That's so
should have been a Bears coach.
That is so true. Yeah, he should have been
the head coach.
Yep, I know. I'll never understand that one. Flex Dig says Brian Cox used to play with his headrest.
Is that true? I know he had that thing on his neck, but
it was his headrest from his Mercedes.
It wasn't really, though, was it?
That William Perry had the neck roll. He had the neck roll in the back for his neck. Yeah, but Cox did have that long straight bar or something that went down his back.
Yeah.
Henry Waxter got a Super Bowl ring with the Redskins.
I didn't know that, but
wow,
didn't someone say he was like one of the meanest players? Henry Wachter.
Is he the one that got the safety for us in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Don't think anyone took Cordell Stewart. I liked Cordell. Okay, I mean, I definitely didn't hate him.
Yeah, he had a good personality. I was definitely rooting for him, but at the same time, I knew it wasn't going to work.
It's kind of that signing got the Bears kind of fans a little excited though, because he was that.
If you recall,
lightning player,
What was
that year? We were trying to sign.
I was trying to remember what his nickname was. The
Slash.
Yeah, Slash.
We were trying to sign Jake Plummer, and he picked Denver over us, and that's when they went to Cordell.
Yep.
I think Jake Plummer and his he was still been like 27 at the time, would have given us a lot of good football, I think.
Slash.
Did you guys hear the news about Brian Greasy?
No.
God, what's he doing now?
He was just fired, I believe. John Lynch says that Brian Greasy's departure was the family decision that Brian himself made. And so because there's been rumors going on that the 49ers were upset with him because of his personality, didn't get along with people. But Lynch is now saying, it was Greasy's family decision made.
Wasn't he kind of a partier, though, and they have a reputation of being a little bit of a drinker?
I didn't know that. Is that true?
I think so, from when he was here.
I know when he was there. I still think, as I've said many times, if Lovey put him in the third quarter at the Super Bowl, we win. Remember, Thomas Jones I agreed too, because he said the game was too big for Rex.
That's exactly what he said.
Didn't he trip on his dog, fell down the stairs too, Brian Greasy?
Was that him that did that?
Someone.
All I can tell you is in 2008, they brought him back with Tampa, and he threw for like 450 yards
against us, right?
Yeah, had his revenge game at Soldier Field.
And just digressing here a little bit, the latest news on Dolly Parton's husband died.
I saw that.
Yeah, J2K. Yeah, Greasy tripped over his dog and broke his wrist when he was drunk.
And poor Gene Hackman's dog starved to death while Gene starved to death, I guess.
Yeah, what is going on?
Was it a homicide too for Hackman?
I don't think so. I think
I thought it said there were signs of blunt force trauma on his head.
Oh fuck! I didn't see that.
I didn't see that either. It was actually Dan that filled me in on what was the latest. This was 2-3 days ago.
One of my favorite actors too. This was one of our greatest actors too, probably, I would say.
She suffered a stroke and
he broke his hip trying to get to her.
Right.
Oh,
Man,
okay.
fucking awful.
Great actor, and to go out that way. It's like Ray Liotta had the best death. He was filming a movie, went to sleep, and he died. And I hated when Ray died. Don't get me wrong, but man, Gene had like maybe the worst one that in recent times anyway. What a great actor! But he lived to be 95. I know that still doesn't, like if he was murdered, like you said, blunt force trauma, or if he lay there and starved to death, just horrible either way.
Wow. Yeah. Favorite movies by him?
By Hackman?
Got to be French Connection. I remember the first time I ever saw him.
I like 2 better. I know
it was in the Poseidon Adventure when I was a kid. That was the first time I kind of saw him in a movie.
I was shocked by his death in that.
Long time ago. Yeah, exactly. When I was a kid, like some of the people that died, I was so sad. It's like Shelley Winters drowned or whatever. She didn't make the swim or whatever, and Hackman died too. And it
just looked like Gene could have swum. He could have swum his way through. Is that swimmed or swum? Swimmed. He looks like he could have swimmed his way through there. It looks like he could have done that, but he just it's like he went into 3 feet of water and they're like, oh, he's dead.
Even Roddy McDowell died in it too, I think, right? He was like one of the they were trying to make their way through the ship, jumping, we're climbing over fire, flames and stuff. But as a little kid that really affected me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great as Lex Luthor.
A lot of people applaud him for his Lex Luthor role, and
he was great.
I just kind of saw it as a comic book movie. I never really paid much mind to him as Lex Luthor. Maybe I need to revisit that.
Yeah, his personality is great. Like in part 2, he had a great line because he's like hanging out with General Zod, and the other 2 that didn't talk, the girl and the guy. And he realizes that Zod's going to turn on him and kill him. And Superman shows up and he's like, Superman, thank God. Get him. Because Zod heard him say that to me. He's like, Superman, thank God. Yeah, I thought Hackman was good in that. You know what movie I always said that I wished he would have played? I know this is going to be right out of left field, but do you remember The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I just saw that the other day, too.
I always thought he could have been the game show host.
Oh, yeah.
He would have been great as like the heel game show host other than that Dawson guy. I didn't like him in that role.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Unforgiven, he was excellent in too. Like the guy up here.
Yeah, the best part about him in Unforgiven, to me, you all can think I'm looking too much into it. I thought that what made him more sinister is that his character thought he was the good guy.
Yeah,
like he thought Morgan
100%.
Freeman's lying, so it's okay to beat him to death. Like he was the officer, he was standing up for what was right, but the fact that he had no conscience about whatever he was doing made him more of a villain and more scary. I thought it was a great performance. Mississippi Burning's great.
When
Night Moves is great.
In Unforgiven, he even said, "I don't deserve this. I was going to retire and have my own house. I was building a house.
Exactly.
I was going to get married." Whatever he was saying when he was dying.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Running Man is really fucking good. I had not seen it since it was released. And when I saw it again, I was like, man, this is pretty fucking good.
I agree.
Someone flashed up Night Moves. I never saw that.
Night Moves is great. Here's your fun fact. Fun fact on Night Moves, Tooch. Melanie Griffith they started filming that in 1973, but she was under 18. So they waited for like a year and a half so she could come and show her titties and be 18 and released it in 1975 because they wanted Melanie Griffith naked in the film. True story. But here goes one for you. A lot of people don't remember it, but it was a solid effort. It was Gene Hackman and the guy that was in First Blood fucking with Rambo. What's his name?
Brian Dennehy.
Yeah, it's called Twice in a Lifetime. And for those of us like me and Aldo, who've been married 2 times, His
Oh, I
character,
remember that. Yes.
his character is like concerned about will he ever find love again because he's divorced, and that's why it's called Twice in a Lifetime. Is it possible to find your love twice in a lifetime where you feel like this is the one? Really good film from '85, underrated, I thought.
Nice.
Directed by Bud Yorkin, who was one of the guys behind All in the Family and all those other sitcoms. Norman Lear.
Royal Tannenbaum. That was a great character too.
Yeah, I heard he was hard on that director, but that seemed to be a hard shoot for everybody there.
Yeah.
Keith, back then in the movies, man, Hollywood was allowed to get away with all sorts of.
Oh, yeah.
No, I thought they reshot. They waited till she was 18 and shot her nudity.
Yeah.
They started filming in '73 and then brought her back in when she turned 18 to show her nudity.
Olivia Hussey, who recently passed away, she was in Romeo and Juliet. She was naked before she was, or just turned 18, and she felt like many years later, she started saying, that really fucked her mind up and her career because she always felt like she was tricked into these nude scenes.
That woman with Brando felt the same way.
Yeah, Maria Schneider.
Yeah, Last Tango in Paris. Again, he allegedly shoved butter up her actual ass. He did. He caked his hand with butter and put it up her ass.
You can't get this on any other podcast, folks.
that should be one of the highlights of a commercial right there.
That was good in The Quick and the Dead too. It was
really good movie. I don't like westerns, but that was good. Unforgiven. Yep. I'm not a western guy. Both really good films.
Yep, excellent. Yep.
Did you guys like the conversation with him and Cyndi Lauper and it was a Francis Coppola? The Conversation.
Oh, Conversation. Yeah, I thought you said Cyndi Lauper for a second.
No, Cindy. What's her name? Cindy from Laverne and Shirley was in the movie.
Cindy Williams.
Cindy Williams. Thank you.
Well, I got a conspiracy theory for you then.
Go ahead.
If you look up online, people claim that Gene Hackman's character from The Conversation was in Enemy of the State with Will Smith, right. That he was playing the same character.
Yep.
Oh, that would make sense.
But they didn't directly say that. But yeah, I like The Conversation. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, fantastic ending.
Where he's like tearing the house apart and everything.
All apart, looking for a surveillance bug, just like because he planted them. That was his profession, and somebody starts listening in on his cause, and he goes.
He won an Oscar for Popeye Doyle, French Connection.
Yes, he did.
Oh, did he?
They won best actor for that.
Best actor.
I thought part 2 was better. No one will agree with me, but I thought part 2 was better.
I recently read that in the first French Connection, that famous scene where he drives under the train tracks, following
Friedkin. Yep.
The suspect, that William Friedkin, the director, he shot that guerrilla style. They didn't get licenses and stuff. They just said, get in the car, and that Hackman did a lot of the driving on those scenes himself. So
Chicago guy too, Friedkin.
Yeah,
Friedkin was a Chicago guy.
I just watched one with Gene Hackman that I read about that he hated, and so did Candice Bergen that played Murphy Brown. But I enjoyed it a lot, called The Domino Principle. It's from '77. It's neo-noir conspiracy. It's like,
I don't know that one.
How the CIA would target people and force them to kill for them. I thought it was excellent. And
I gotta see that one. That one sounds really good.
It doesn't credit him, but Richard Burton does the voiceover at the start.
Look at that cast too.
Yeah, Richard Widmark, Mickey Rooney, Eddie Albert, Eli Wallach.
Eli Wallach, love Eli Wallach.
Hey, and like I said too, it's at the beginning. The first 2 or 3 minutes are a voiceover that sets up the rest of the film, and it's Richard Burton doing it, even though they don't identify him.
Damn,
Richard Burton's a great actor.
Yeah,
was a great actor. And he fucked Liz Taylor,
over and over again. What year is that, the Domino Principle?
70. I think they filmed it in 76 and it dropped in the theater in 77. Because I read about it extensively after I watched it on TCM like a week ago.
And so is that supposed to be Candice Bergen in there in that cartoon? I guess so.
Yeah, that she said on her press that she liked the fact that she was playing an average person who wasn't supposed to be like made up and just a regular lady. And then she said she regretted it because the critics criticized her for basically calling her ugly. So But at the time, she thought it was a good role because she wasn't playing anyone significant other than his love interest, but she wasn't a hot model or anything like that. It wasn't sexy. She was just, his girlfriend or his wife or whatever.
Interesting.
But she didn't like it either. She said she hated the film and everything about it, and so did he.
So you saw Honora last night after the Oscars?
Yeah. I was at work. I didn't think I'd get through it because it's 2.5 hours, but
Sean Baker is the
It took
guy.
a while, but I watched it. Yeah.
He won Best Director too, correct?
Best
they
director,
won
best editor, best screenplay.
5 awards, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing that I was talking about this guy last year sometime when I watched the Florida Project, and I was like, it's kind of like it's almost like independent, homemade, films. Red Rocket and Florida Project. There's another one too that was before both of those. I just can't remember the name of it. But I was saying how Florida Project kind of stuck with me, with all the characters at the transient motel that was managed by Willem Dafoe. But you haven't seen that one, have you?
No,
Dan?
I need to. I like Willem Dafoe, and so does Nikki. So
it was really good. But I saw Nosferatu. It's out on.
I did not like that.
Peacock.
I saw it at the theater. I hate it.
It was very well shot and made, but this is just average story. It's the same story as Bram Stoker's Dracula, whatever. F.W. Murnau's Nosferatu.
We were in the theater watching it, and again, I didn't want to let my displeasure affect her liking of the film. I was keeping my opinion to myself.
There's some beautiful shots in it, though.
But 45 minutes in, she's like, I got to go piss or something, and she looked at me. She's like, you don't like it, do you? And I was like, I hate it. She's like, oh my God. She said, I hate it too. And she really wanted to see it. She's like, this is terrible. And I thought it was. I thought it was horrible. She did too. We both.
The one that's on Peacock is the extended cut.
God, I watched the 2.5 hour version at the theater. I can't watch another one. That movie fucking was terrible.
It's interesting because the critics liked it, so I'm kind of interested in checking it out. But Stephen Me says didn't like Nosferatu, was expecting something much better. Well shot, though. Agree.
Yeah, well shot. And it was beautifully filmed.
Yeah.
The mise en scène was fantastic.
Every time I see Johnny Depp's daughter, man, I just remember that show at the weekend. I don't even want to see her naked. It looks like I'm looking at Johnny.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see his dick.
Yep. I agree. My wife and I were talking about you. I was like, she's not that attractive.
She looks just like Johnny, and I don't want to see Johnny naked,
Yeah.
Are you sure?
God, I'll tell you a story. I'll even send you a link off air if you want to see this. This is unbelievable. You don't even have to know the guy's name or anything. Just know somebody. Just substitute somebody in life.
Mm-hmm.
So a guy that I've known, he was born in 1974. So was my sister. They graduated together. So I've known him my whole life. He grew up 2 miles from my house. He's always been cool to me. Like I said, one year I was working. He heard me on this police scanner because I was at 911 on Christmas. He goes, you shouldn't be working on Christmas. He's like, he said, could he and his wife bring me dinner? I mean, that's the kind of guy he is. He brought me dinner just because he heard me working.
Nice.
And again, there's nothing wrong with what I'm about to say, but I was really shocked. So he got into a dust up with the police last week and was filming it, and it went viral locally. He was accusing the police of abuse and such. And somehow, some way, allegedly the police found his found his Twitter that he and his wife have under an assumed name.
Mm-hmm.
I went to this because everyone's like, oh my God, did you see the videos with X today? And I was like, no, I thought they meant his arrest. I go to it. I'm telling you, it shows him walk in the room. Imagine the guy you've known your whole life. He's married, great guy, Not that he can't be a great guy doing this too. I'm just saying. He comes in the room and he just gets on this guy's dick, like a 10-inch dick without any lube, and it goes straight up his ass, and he's riding it like a 10-year vet. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. He and his wife is kissing him while this guy's sodomizing him. And then there's all these other videos. He's like, who sucks dick better, me or my wife? And it was just like, holy shit. Anyway, just imagine some guy you knew and you didn't know that. It was not that there's anything wrong with that. It's not like I think less of him. I'm just shocked.
Yeah.
And like he took this dick like a 10-year veteran.
Ooh. So what is this guy's name again? Johnny?
I don't want to say. I can send you one of his videos if you want, just to see it.
No. Actually, but send it to me, and the next time, I will air it. But blur.
No, we can't do that. We can't do that.
Blur out faces and stuff.
I can give you his Twitter thing if you want, and then whatever.
Text that to me.
Okay, you can look through the videos. Again, he's a great dude. I just was absolutely stunned, floored by this.
Capkeeper says, "I'm high as fuck." Going on.
Nice.
That sounds like a Tarantino movie. All right, so listen, I wanted to play for you. Who was this? Somebody just says, "Cue up this 1,000 blows."
Oh, the 1,000 blows. Before you go to that, 1,000 blows trailer for 1,000 blows. Before you go to that, I saw an interview with Eric Stoltz. I had no idea that they filmed a whole bunch of Back to the Future.
Oh, I heard
with
about
him as Marty McFly, and then they said, "You're not gonna. We want someone else. Get out of here."
Yeah.
it really upset him for quite a while. I had no idea though. I never knew that.
Yeah, they had to buy his contract out. I knew that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they filmed for I think about a week or so, and director Robert Zemeckis says this isn't working out. They looked at the rushes, and he didn't have the quality, and it was probably a good decision. Stoltz is an excellent actor.
Yeah.
He's a way better actor than Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Fox plays the same character in everything.
Right, I was thinking I didn't think it would be that bad with Stoltz, but anyways.
Probably not, right.
Michael J. Fox plays Alex Keaton on everything.
Every movie.
Yeah.
It's very true. All right.
Even with James Woods, The Hard Way, he's still playing the same character.
Right.
This comes recommended 1,000 blows trailer.
Scottish Bear.
Scottish Bear.
The Lion's Den. Don't matter if you were raised here or you just got here. You learn to fight them. Or this city will swallow you whole.
We just get here from Kingston, Jamaica. And we are looking to make some money in the ring tonight.
My name is Mary Cobb, Queen of the 40 Elephants. The biggest gang of female thieves in the whole of London.
You have all the power.
Yes.
I want that. You can do it. You can be the next champion.
Pull him off my patch.
If they want to battle, I'm ready for war. I come from the struggle and love all the trouble. I've been here before.
Watch me kill him.
Can't happen. I need him for something. Plans are forming.
It's our time now, brother.
If they want to battle, I'm ready for war.
He doesn't get to just walk in here and take everything from me.
I'm done and I'm sick of the talk with a smiling faces. Not anymore.
He's already taken it all.
Been in the gutter, I come from the mud, I can give you a talk.
And you just let him. Don't take my protection for granted.
I made a good Lord have mercy on your soul.
This may be the bottom of the barrel, but we are going to float elegantly all the way to the top.
My name is Hezekiah Masco, and I am here to fight like my people are watching.
Ready for more. Ready for more.
Nice trailer.
I had to look up, see how old Stephen Graham is. He's like 5 years younger. He's 51 years old.
51, yeah, wow.
The actor Stephen Graham, who's in that.
He's in great shape there. Dan, you there?
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt anyone's thoughts.
What'd you think of that trailer?
Oh, God, I don't want Stephen Me or George to hate me, but it's too British to me. I'm like, after there's so much British, it reminds me of that Guy Ritchie film from '99 that I just fucking hated, called Snatch. It's just too I like The Gentleman. I did love The Gentleman. The Gentleman I love. Hugh Grant and McConaughey, but yeah, it's just too British for me. I need subtitles for British.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Hated Snatch.
Ooh, great movie, Guy Ritchie.
Oh man, it's great. Yeah,
I hated Snatch.
All right,
but I saw it in the theater without subtitles. That's what I'm saying. I saw it in the theater.
You need captions. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I need subtitles if it's British. I can't fucking follow.
You'll get so much more out of it if you have the captions on during the movie.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: are you guys putting on captions more often?
All the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the time.
It's like some scenes are really loud and some scenes are really soft. I don't know what's
100%.
going on with streaming and TV movies and stuff. But man, it's annoying as fuck.
Even if it's a movie I've seen like 20 times with captions, I feel like I find something new.
Yeah.
With the dialogue showing like, oh, that's funny as fuck. I didn't know that. Like I missed a joke before.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I like it.
Listening to music with a copy of the lyrics in front of you, and you realize,
exactly,
God, I've done the fucking lyrics wrong on this song for 20 years.
I thought you were going to show a clip of Soulz when we were talking about that.
I wish that would have been cool.
I don't know.
It was great in the movie. Was it called The Mask or The
Mask?
Yeah, it was Cher.
Yeah, that was a great film.
Yeah, his death was a little, I thought, a little forced there. It didn't really seem like.
I agree. But I saw a movie that I highly recommend. It's called Stranger Darling. Let me play the 1-minute trailer for you, and then I'll share.
Is that new movie?
It's 2024, so it's been out about 8 months or so. Here it comes.
This is a dramatization of the true story of the final known killings of the most prolific and unique American serial killer of the 21st century.
You know you asked for this, right?
Just trying to have a good time.
I'm in control.
Don't say it out loud.
Gotcha.
I want something intimate, something romantic.
Film he's in.
Never heard of this, but man, that looks awesome.
No, I never heard of it either. I just on a lark, I started watching it last night, and I agree with Stephen King. It really fucking is a masterpiece. It is Stephen King like so many fucking twists and turns. You saw at the end there, it says told in 6 chapters. Well, it's told in 6 chapters, but out of order. That opening scene is chapter 3. Then they go to chapter 5. Then chapter 1, and it feels like.
What's it on?
Gosh, I think I'll have to get back to you on that. I don't know if it was Netflix or Hulu or something like that.
Nice.
That guy who had that same mustache and smile.
Yes.
God, shave your mustache. Like Mike Ditka had a great one. Wani had a great one. That's it.
That's on Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus Showtime. Yes.
Yeah. By the way, I hated Smile too. Hated it.
I know. I was surprised.
I loved the first one. I hated the second one.
Yeah, I didn't hate the second one. Scottish Bear. Oh, I'm not going to put that up, Scottish Bear, because you're giving too much away. It's one of the captions in that trailer says, "See it before somebody tells you what the twists are." And so I highly recommend you see it, because you're gonna, now that I've mentioned it, someone is going to spill the beans on what's really going on there, and it'll disappoint.
Okay, I gotta watch it. I didn't know. I have Paramount Plus, so I'll have to look it up. But
I got a show for you. Now, this was on 30 years ago, and I always liked it. I never saw it anywhere on streaming, but I watched this entire run on HBO. I shouldn't have been watching it. I was too young for it. But it was just a 25-minute, 30-minute vulgar show about a dude that was a kid, was thrown in front of a TV, and then that's all he did, grew up watching TV. So every time he's about to fuck somebody or hear dialogue, he would think about a TV show or a movie, and they would insert the clips. Yeah. It was called Dream On. And with Brian Ben was the guy's name.
Yeah.
And it was really good, man. And it's on Roku now, so I'm recording them on DVD before they lose it.
Nice, I remember this.
I love this show, man.
It was really funny too.
Yeah, it was vulgar nudity.
Yep.
From 90 to 96, it was on, and I'm rewatching those right now because it has.
It's on Showtime, I think, right? Showtime. HBO. Okay.
Yeah, and it was never streaming anywhere, and they didn't sell it on DVD. So it's just like, man, it's finally out. I'm recording
I used to watch that.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Good fucking show, man.
Well, I'm going to check it out. I'm looking at it right now on Rotten Tomatoes. Got great reviews. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, it always shows clips. A lot of them of Ronald Reagan when he was an actor, which is funny. But the show, they'll insert clips from movies or TV that are vital to the story within the episode. So it's really well done.
Keith writes, I have to use captions with the fantastic Australian crime series Underbelly. I've heard of Underbelly, that it's really good. He says season 2 has very wicked former Power Rangers. Anna Hutchinson. Yeah, baby. Jack Reacher season 3 is out. I have not seen an episode, but I hear it is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I like the Reacher.
You ever get into the Reacher series?
No, I didn't watch the movie or the series.
Yeah, the movie is just so with Tom Cruise. The series, in my opinion, is much, much better.
Yeah.
It's a good binge. You and your wife should check it out.
Yeah, it's mysteries, it's good. Crime mystery.
We just finished Dexter's prequel. We thought it was amazing.
I liked it a lot, but that final episode was not as good as you told me it was.
I loved it. I loved it. You didn't like? I don't want to spoil it for anybody because it's still kind of fresh. Like the stuff with Dempsey, I thought it was perfect.
It was okay. It was good. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't.
I liked it. I don't know what else they could have done. What could have made it better?
I don't know. Naked girls. More naked.
I thought it was great. The one that's really bothering me right now, and I'm close to I'm going to finish it, but Yellow Jackets is really disappointing me right now.
I agree with you. I'm ready to quit on it.
They have to be rescued.
I haven't started season 3.
Well, they have to be rescued out of the woods on this season. If they try to go to season 4 with them still in the woods, I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
You could still stretch out a season 4 and 5 with them in the present.
Mm-hmm.
But how much more shit can you make up with them in the woods? They're about to kill that coach. Okay, we know that's coming. They're blaming him for the fire in the woods or whatever. But I just it's really jumped the shark, I think.
Another movie I saw recently, Mother's Instinct with Anne Hathaway and Jessica Chastain. You guys heard of it?
No.
But Anne Hathaway's beautiful.
Oh, I love them. And both of them together, there's a lot of great chemistry. The basic plot line is that one of those women, their child dies, and the woman kind of blames her neighbor being Jessica Chastain character, and Hathaway blames her because she saw the kid playing on the ledge of a balcony, and she didn't immediately come to his rescue. She was delayed a little bit, and so she sort of blames her, and so there's this cat and mouse stuff that happens, and the Jessica Chastain character thinks that now the Anne Hathaway character is coming after her and her family by setting these traps where they could get poisoned and shit like that. So it's a really interesting film. Drags just a little bit, but it's not bad. It's under 2 hours long. I recommend it.
What's the name of it again?
It's called what the fuck is it called? It is called Mother's Instinct.
Mother's Instinct. Okay, yeah, you told us. I just forgot immediately.
Hey, going back to Dexter, Aldo, for just a minute. Did you know they had a 10-year high in ratings for the Dexter prequel? It was their best ratings in a decade.
Wow.
And usually prequels do not do well because people kind of know what's going to happen. It's got to set up basically a show that was already produced years ago. And so there aren't that many surprises. So those typically get bad ratings. So it's good to hear that Dexter got good ratings because it really is a brilliant series.
They said they may extend it. They may give a prequel another season.
That would make sense. I don't know how they go, where they go to though. Because
when season one ends is it's 06. and that prequel ended in 91. So I mean, you got a decade in there.
So I guess that his brother disappears for.
Right, and he's the killer in season 1. Oh wait, I don't know if Tush's seen this. So.
No, yeah.
I've seen season 1 of.
Okay, you know his brother is the killer, the ice cream truck killer.
Yep.
Well, they set all that up perfectly in the prequel, in my opinion, and how Deb joins the police. And I just thought it was I don't know what else they could have done to inspire Aldo Gandia here, because I think it was great.
More nude girls. Paradise.
I thought the kid that played Dexter was awesome too, by the way.
He was good.
The chat room is thanking us for recommending Paradise.
Yeah. Have you seen it, Dan?
I have not.
What streaming service is that?
It's on Hulu. There's one episode left. It comes out tomorrow.
It actually drops at 11 o'clock tonight. It just dropped 6 minutes ago.
Right now. I can't watch it without my wife. She'll be pissed.
I told you one that I don't know. I don't think you all would like it. I think it's probably directed toward younger people. But the lady I work with and I watch it, and I've really gotten into it. It's called School Spirits. It's a Paramount show, but it airs on Showtime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I like it, man. I'm pretty much into it. So I don't expect a lot of males to like it though.
Oh, it's one of those kind of shows.
Yeah, either younger. It's still like it's not TV PG. It's still cussing and stuff, but it's definitely more of a Gen Z kind of show. And I usually hate shows like this. I'm not in their demographic at all, but I enjoy it.
Dexter did get more popular during reruns during the pandemic. CBS, because they weren't producing shows, aired it on their on the network, and people were watching a lot of TV then. So it ended up being a good thing for Dexter fans.
Yeah.
I'm being asked if I've seen Mr. Mercedes, Stephen King. No, I have not. Have you guys heard of it?
No, I don't know.
Just before coming on the show, I finished watching the film that got Culkin the Oscar, A Real Pain, with Jesse Eisenberg. Have you guys heard of that?
No.
Great fucking story. It's about two cousins who are estranged, but finally now get back together because their grandmother recently passed away. So because they're Polish Jews, they decide to take a trip together to Poland to go visit her old home. On the way there, they stop off at a bunch of places.
I heard about this.
Yeah, and the chemistry between them is, you ever had a friend, and I think everybody has, but you ever had a friend that was like more popular than you, and you loved him, but at the same time, there were things about that friend that really fucking irritated you. That because they were irresponsible, because they cheated on their wives or whatever, and it just made you really pissed off that you loved the guy because the guy was the toast of the party and stuff. Well, that's the dynamic going on between the Culkin character and Eisenberg, and it's really fucking good. Wow. And at the end of the movie, it was funny because I was doing a graphic for this show with Dan, and so I was feeling emotional to begin with. And then when the scene of the closing scene happens, I actually started crying, and I was wondering to myself, am I crying because Dan's coming back tonight, or am I crying because
I think that lady.
This one, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
The lady's speech last night made me cry at the Oscars.
That looks great.
Which one? Joy Saldana?
I don't even know who she is. I heard them say that she was the first Puerto Rican to win an Oscar.
Dominican.
I think she's so hot.
I didn't know what she was from or anything. I just was listening to it.
Wasn't she's Guardians of the Galaxy too?
She was in some superhero movie.
Guardians of the Galaxy. She's so cute in that.
She was one of the Avatar characters.
Yeah.
The James Cameron movie. The first
one.
Yeah.
Right, the Avatar. Yeah.
God, what about the guy was Pat Riley in one Best Actor.
Adrian Brody.
Brody's speech was, I mean, he kept saying, like, they were trying to play him off. He's like, will you please turn the music off? He's like, I'm not going to be egregiously long. And then he was egregiously long. He was like 8 minutes. Did anybody else think Brody's speech is like, dude, get off the stage?
I was so fucking angry at that dude. Who the fuck do you think you are to tell the orchestra, I've done this before, give me more time? It's like everybody else, listened to the music and finished up and went away. Now you're going to start a whole fucking new speech about politics and shit. Fuck you. Get off the stage. You had your 40 seconds. Don't try to make it 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
I swear his speech was more than 5 minutes. It was more than 5 minutes.
I didn't see the movie, The Brutalist.
Yeah, The Brutalist, which I hear is really good.
It's 3.5 hours. I mean, I'm not saying that as a detriment. I wanted to mention this. I found out too. I'm bouncing around because we don't see each other enough anymore. But Aldo says he watched this Scorsese movie that you always shit on, and he recommends it.
I know. I haven't finished it yet.
It's a good movie, man.
I know. I gotta finish it.
It's good. What was it called again?
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yes, thank you. Good film. That's another point. With Gene Hackman dying.
I want to go back because
Ray
Jesse
Liotta
Plemons had just come into the film, and I'm like, okay, here's a guy I could kind of like. It was like I hated De Niro and DiCaprio; they were assholes.
Well, I was just saying with Donald
I know they're
Sutherland,
supposed to be and stuff, but yeah,
with all these good actors dying, in the next couple of years, we got Pacino and De Niro and even like Schwarzenegger and Stallone. All these guys are 70 and 80 years old. We're going to see like a bunch of people. Great actors dying soon. Not that I'm saying Stallone's a great actor, but you know what I mean? A leading man for a long time. Like I always like James Woods. He's in his 70s. Even DiCaprio's 50 now.
Oh, wow.
J2K.
Killer of my 4 hours.
I liked it.
I got it back.
Too. But I will admit, J2K, and I told Tooch this last week, I did take 8 hours to watch a 3.5 movie.
I probably have invested at least 8 trying to watch it.
Man.
But
Joe Pesci.
You guys never saw Coda, right? The one that won Best Picture?
Yeah, I saw it.
Did you? Okay. Child of Deaf Adults. That was a great movie, too.
Excellent movie. Yeah. What are you going to say, man? I
was just pointing out like Joe Pesci's in his 80s and Robert Redford. I mean, Christopher Walken, all these guys are going to start dying soon. I mean, it's terrible.
There's that Clint Eastwood hasn't been seen in almost a year, and so there's thoughts that maybe his.
I thought he was directing a film now.
Well, I don't know.
He did that Juror number 2, man. That was excellent.
That was excellent. And then I saw some video of Jack Nicholson getting into a car, and he was hunched over with a walker. He looks like he's ready to go, man.
He's 88.
88, yeah.
He just had a birthday. He was at some event recently, and I forget what it was, but I saw him recently. I mean, it's another guy that's going to die. Like I saw so many Gene Hackman films, I kind of felt like I knew him or something,
The Tree of Life.
That's a Terrence Malick.
Okay. Right. Okay, I remember that now.
Zen like guy. He keeps his camera on a fly or a butterfly for 30 minutes. Yeah, it's not for everybody, that's for sure. Harrison Ford is 82. I got to tell you, I like Harrison Ford now more than I ever have before. He's got such a great
doing superhero movies.
Yeah, he's like, I never really thought he was great as Han Solo. Those early movies, Raiders of the Lost Ark, I liked. I liked the Indiana Jones character. But Harrison Ford's making commercials, doing speeches at conventions, and doing the talk show circuit. He's fucking funny as fuck, man. I'm glad to see him. How about Mick Jagger at the Oscars?
Yeah, and his joke about being younger than Bob Dylan was pretty funny,
That was hilarious. A lot of people were complaining that Timothy Chalamet should have won instead of Adrian Brody because Brody, there's a lot of CGI stuff that helped his performance. I don't know anything at all about the movie, but they're saying, here's this Timothy guy who for 5 years learned how to sing badly to be the Bob Dylan character. Right. And then you get this Adrian Brody.
And he actually really can sing too. If you saw Wonka, he actually has a really good voice.
Yeah, he was on Saturday Night Live and he did a great job.
Well, the lady that won Best Actress that was in Tarantino's movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, she's the one that Leo burns up with the flamethrower at the end of the pool.
Yeah,
But
you see that. I'm not sure that's correct.
it is. It is. She also was burned alive in Scream 5.
What's her name?
Mickey something. Look it up. I'll bet you $50 right now.
No,
right,
I don't
straight up
bet.
right now.
I don't
All
want
right,
to bet.
but my point is, she learned Russian for the film, like she legitimately took Russian, and had to learn a New York accent on top of it. So she had to learn 2 different language, or dialects.
Damn.
Yeah, so she probably. I wanted Demi Moore to win because I've liked Demi her whole career.
Yeah.
But man, to learn 2 languages for an independent film that she probably wasn't paid well for. I mean,
right,
like
so
that's incredible.
Sorry for interrupting.
No.
This is the woman who was in Once Upon a Time in America. Her name is Margaret Qualley.
No, that's not her. She was the Manson family. She was burned
Margaret
in the pool.
Qualley, she was
my bad.
She was in Substance, Qualley.
Yeah, Brad Pitt hit her in the face with a can of dog food, and Leonardo DiCaprio got the tool shed, the flamethrower out of the tool shed and burned her alive in the swimming pool.
I see.
Oh, no, please look it up. I don't want you to think I'm wrong on this.
No, I believe you know.
I gotta think
I thought it was Margaret.
Qualley was in the Substance. She was like the younger Demi Moore. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Her name is Mikey Madison.
Right.
And they actually made a joke about it when Tarantino came out last night. They said if you hadn't cast her in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, we wouldn't have this movie, Honora, because no one else could play it.
How about that? Isn't it cool?
If you look up her Wikipedia, it mentions the Tarantino thing as soon as you start reading her name.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I thought you were incorrect. I was wrong.
She played Susan Atkins in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and she was Amber Freeman in Scream 5. In both movies, she was burned alive.
What a great cast! You know, Tarantino has an eye for good talent. All of his movies are so well fucking cast.
Yes,
he's amazing.
Yep.
Hey, one thing I wanted to mention about the Killers of the Flower Moon, I think one of the reasons I liked it so much is I listened to about 2 hours of Martin Scorsese interviews because I love listening to a guy talk about movies, old movies, new movies, about the movie he's made and stuff. And so that really primed me up to just kind of be more accepting of it. You know, sometimes you walk into a movie and you're skeptical, and 10 minutes in, you're wondering, should I keep watching this and stuff? I was so primed to experience Scorsese. I was actually planning on watching a couple of Scorsese movies that past weekend, but I ran out of time because it took me eight hours to watch.
I've never watched that religious one that you mentioned. I've never seen
The
that.
Last Temptation of Christ.
Oh,
I've never
that was
watched it.
fantastic, man.
Yeah, a lot of people
That was
hate
great.
it.
Yeah,
Dude.
it was excellent.
Can you give me like a quick little rundown of the plot?
You didn't see it either?
You know, I still have not seen it. I own the disc too, but I still have not seen it.
I mean, where else can you see the story of Jesus told with New York accents, Bronx accents?
Exactly.
You know, it's great. But yeah, I mean, it's good, man. It's like I know people. It has the reputation of being blasphemous.
Okay,
but I don't think it is, man.
About him wanting sex, right?
Well, I mean, it's just kind of like this. There's all sorts of doubts and stuff, you know, but it has a redeeming ending as well. I don't want to give away too much, but it's you know, just the whole.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
What if it was this? You know, he's thinking of this. And, you know,
Is Robert De Niro Jesus Christ?
Willem Dafoe.
Oh,
yeah.
Isn't De Niro in that too?
No, Harvey Keitel is Judas. You know, it's really not like a traditional.
Judas is so perfect.
Yeah.
I like Harvey, man. He's a good actor.
Oh, I love him too.
It's another guy.
Is he
He's
still
like 90.
alive? Yeah,
he's like 90 years old. He's gonna all these guys are gonna be dying soon. It's really sad.
Yeah, it really is.
That's why the Hackman death is so you know, big, you know.
Yeah.
In our
Donald
consciousness.
Sutherland, great actor, you know. Shelley Duvall.
I like the
Louis Gossett Jr. I mean, a lot of people died last year.
Favorite Sutherland movie?
Favorite what movie?
Donald Sutherland movie.
Ooh, geez, you know, it's an ensemble cast, so it's hard to say it's a Donald Sutherland movie, but JFK is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
And his performance as the CIA informant is so absolutely spot on. I mean, he's got like long dialogue scenes, but the way he delivers them and his hand movements and stuff really makes it compelling. And of course, Oliver Stone and his film editor did a great job of putting in all those images during those long speeches. But that's my favorite Donald Sutherland.
Eye of the Needle. If you haven't seen that,
yes,
go back and see that. It's fantastic.
The Day of the Locust.
The Day of the Locust, another good one.
Yeah,
75.
time for me. So that one, I haven't seen that in a long time.
I really enjoyed that one.
What
have
about
you seen Eye of the Needle, Dan?
I have not.
You have to see that one. It's almost note perfect. You know, I mean, the whole pacing, shot, everything, the story. You know, the ending as well has a great ending.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now.
Silence, a Scorsese religious theme movie. There's been about
Silence. That's takes place in Japan.
Does it? Yeah.
With, Liam Neeson and Andrew Garfield.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Is that?
I'm not sure. Donald Sutherland was in Kelly's Heroes. Yeah, that's an interesting movie from back, I want to say, early 70s. Yeah. Clint Eastwood, Don Rickles is in it in a dramatic role. It's pretty wild.
He was in that film he's really young with Jane Fonda. Clute,
yeah. We just mentioned that. Larry T did, yeah.
Yeah, Nikki and you would both like Eye of the Needle, I think.
Okay.
It's the one you guys could watch together. I watched it with my wife recently. She enjoyed it.
Quick plot rundown on Eye of the Needle?
Eye of the Needle? Oh, man, I don't want to give away too much. But yeah, Donald Sutherland is a Nazi spy. He's like one of their best spies, and he is in England as a spy. He discovers that all of their airplanes are fake when they fly over. They're not real, and he's trying to get back to Germany to report back to his superiors that, hey, Britain doesn't have an air force, and his boat crashes on this remote Scottish island with just like a lady and her husband. The husband's crippled and their little boy. But yeah, it's great. You have to see it. He's trying to get back to Germany to report, and it would change the war, but I don't want to give away too much, but it's great.
That's a great plot analysis.
Yep.
Really good.
Yeah. I've got an anecdote for you, changing the subject.
Give it to us.
All right, you remember Videodrome we've talked about before?
Yeah.
Cronenberg and James Woods?
One of the weirdest movies of all time.
Well, at the end of it, that shit comes out of it, like the TV comes out of his stomach or whatever. He said that I was reading a book, this super fan of James Woods films, like ends up like having all these conversations over a bunch of years over his whole career. So it's like, I've been reading this book. And James Woods was talking about Videodrome. And for one, I'll get to the point, but Debbie Harry was talking about how much of a gentleman he was and how he helped her with acting and made her feel comfortable. And she's like, he was just so great. And then he said back to her, he's like, she's the most beautiful superstar that I've ever met that didn't know she was a superstar. He's just like, she's so humble. But anyway, he said he went through all that. It took him like 9-10 hours for that scene with makeup. Wow. And he had to sit on his knees during the filming of it for 14 hours. It was just like crazy. He was like, I hated it. And, it was just so terrible. And that Cronenberg wanted him to play The Fly. And he goes, he said, I can't do any more makeup. I can't do it because of this movie. So that was why it went to Jeff Goldblum. He was going to be James Woods as The Fly. And then lastly, he said on the movie that whatever the ending was originally, he said Cronenberg called him and was like, I need to know what you think about the ending. He's like, I don't think you want to know my feeling about the ending. He goes, no, really, tell me. He goes, it fucking sucks, man. He's like, considering how great a director you are, I'm really disappointed in your ending. And he goes, whoa. Well, will you come and reshoot? He's like, I'll come right now. He goes, well, let me call your agent. He's like, no, fuck, you don't need to call my agent. I'll fly to Canada now, like today, so we can reshoot. That's how passionate I am that I don't like your ending. And then he said they shot 4 more endings when he went back up there, and then they chose the one that's in the movie. But he was like, he hated the original ending so much that he was afraid to even tell him.
That's a great fucking story.
Man.
Yeah. This book is really good.
Did you see Existenz, the other one, the Cronenberg?
Yeah,
I
with
didn't see that.
Jennifer Jason Leigh
Yep.
and Jude Law. If you like Videodrome, man, you would love Existence. Man, it's
Well,
crazy.
That must be more
Willem
modern than if
Dafoe's
Jude
in it,
Law's
too.
in it, right?
Yeah, Willem Dafoe's in it. Yep.
If
Willem
Jude
Dafoe,
Law's in
Jude
it,
Law.
it's got to be much later, right?
Yeah. Yep. It was 92, I think, or 91, 93.
Ah, was
maybe.
Jude Law out then?
Mhm.
Wow, okay.
Hey,
I didn't
Oh, wait,
notice
sorry.
until
It was
like
99. Existence was 99.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Bellissimo brought up that when we talk about Sutherland, nobody's brought up the Dirty Dozen. And Bellissimo, I just learned like a few days ago that Dan has never seen the Dirty Dozen.
Right, it's true.
Is it, Lee Marvin?
Oh, you never seen it either, Tooch?
A long time ago.
Oh my gosh, please watch it. And it's on TCM all
the time. Yep.
Great story. Lee Marvin is kind of a renegade type captain, and he's given an impossible mission to take 12 guys who are being sentenced to death for crimes they committed while in the army. And it's a difficult.
It's got a great cast too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I won't even go through it. But really, it's a man's dirty, sweaty balls movie. It really is good. And
I probably haven't seen it in 30 years. Maybe 40 years.
It's one of those movies I try to watch every 4 or 5 years. And then, have you seen Shawshank Redemption yet?
No. Oh man, that's all-time classic.
Told you I was in that prison where they filmed it at a music festival 2 years ago, but no, I didn't see the movie yet.
I can't believe it.
I'm not a Tim Robbins fan. I don't know.
Fuck Tim Robbins. It's the movie. It's a story.
He's really great in Silo too, Tim Robbins.
Another movie that everybody's like, how could you not watch that? I never watched The Green Mile. I didn't want to see it. I don't know.
It was all right. Green Mile was good.
Yeah. It's not one of the best films, but it's
good.
It's okay. Yeah, it's all right.
I don't know.
But check out Shawshank, please.
Shawshank is classic.
I'd rather watch The Dirty Dozen than Shawshank.
Dirty Dozen's good.
You'll love The Dirty Dozen. I know you will. Charles Bronson is in.
I like Bronson, man. I like a lot of his bad 70s films.
Yes, exactly. What was the name of the movie with Jan Michael Vincent, The Mechanic?
Yeah, good one. I like the one where the guys run around naked.
Christian Bale ran it, remade it, didn't he? Christian Bale remake The Mechanic.
I didn't know what's the same. That was a remake. What were you going to say, Dan?
The
10 to Midnight.
10 to Midnight.
Yeah, where the killer's naked the whole film. That I enjoyed that movie. I like
Bronson's the cop hunting the naked guy.
I like some of those Death Wish movies too.
Yeah.
Yep. He's a guilty pleasure for me, Charles Bronson. I admit it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those movies were politically criticized, the Die Hard movies, because
Death Hunt.
He's going on trains.
Death Wish.
No, there's also Death Hunt too.
Oh, I didn't see that.
With Lee Marvin is hunting Charles Bronson.
Oh, wow.
It's like a Western kind of, not really a Western, but I mean, it's kind of mountain man.
Mr.
Western
Majestic is good. Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Once Upon a Time in the West, one of my all-time favorite movies.
Classic. Upon a Time in the West. Oh,
that's
yeah.
Sergio Leone.
Yeah. He's a great filmmaker, man.
Yep.
He did The People versus Larry Flint.
It's not.
It's not.
That director you just talked about, he did The People versus Larry Flint. Oh, that was a good film with Woody Harrelson.
Who's the director?
Sergio Leone or whatever. Wasn't that?
That
was
he had it was a director of the similar name then.
People versus Larry Flint, 1976 movie.
No, it's 96.
Milos Forman.
Okay. My bad. I'm being wrong on that one. I was right about Mikey Madison, though.
You were indeed. So it's 1-1. We need a tiebreaker.
Did Dan see Once Upon a Time in the West?
No.
Oh, dude. So good.
I'm not a big Western guy.
I know. But
what Western have you seen, Dan, that you like?
The one with Jack Nicholson and Marlon Brando, Missouri Breaks.
Yeah, that was classic.
I like it.
Brando's like a weirdo in that movie, though.
Yeah, Nicholson's certainly the anti-hero. I love Brando's death in it. I like that. I liked Unforgiven. I like The Quick and the Dead. We mentioned that earlier.
Did you see Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
Like I said, I'm just not a.
Those are two of the all-time greatest movies of all time, regardless of whether it's a Western or not.
Cinematography, performances.
The story of Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is fantastic.
Piece of art.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Eastwood a lot better than John Wayne. I can't. I'll never watch.
Did you see The Hateful Eight?
Oh yeah, I like The Hateful Eight. It's Tarantino.
Yeah, that's great. Yep.
Aldo's not seen that.
What?
I started watching it and I fell asleep.
That's like how I was with Killers of the Flower Moon. I fell asleep.
Kurt Russell's another guy that's getting up there.
Yeah.
No, Goldie's 80 now. So I mean, fuck, man, Goldie Hawn, beautiful woman in her day, man, beautiful.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you see her at the Oscars?
I didn't.
Oh, it's plastic.
Wow.
Man. Like
Goldie.
Yeah, so because she's a beautiful woman, and it just you wonder. People can do whatever they want, but you wonder, wouldn't she just look better and more authentic if she would not have had all that work done?
Same thing with Demi Moore, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Demi's had a lot of work done.
Yeah, it looks good though. I mean, Demi had some success with it.
Jesus, everybody at the Oscars last night had this work done. Hard Times. That's a great movie, man. Great.
Charles Bronson. Yeah, Hard Times.
I haven't seen that one.
That's God, what's that? James Coburn and Charles Bronson, right? The fight promoter.
Correct.
Yeah, that's classic.
Walter Hill is a filmmaker that
was that Walter Hill?
Yeah.
Oh man.
He is one of my favorite directors from that 70s, 80s.
Yeah. He did 48 Hours, right?
48 Hours, yep. Southern Comfort. You ever see that one?
Southern Comfort, yeah.
Keith Carradine and Powers Booth.
Yep. Assault on Precinct 37 or whatever the number of the thing. Yeah, tell him. Foster's in the house. All of them, Aldo. Time tells. Goldie did not look too good. Yes, indeed. Walter Hill's first movie was Hard Times.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
I liked Murphy's Law. That was one from Bronson that I liked. I couldn't think of the name of it. I looked it up.
Murphy's Law?
Neo-noir had a lot of comedy in it too, but it's action neo-noir movie from 86.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Yeah, if you like Bronson, man, Once Upon a Time in the West is just so good.
Bronson's like really, I know he's kind of like the dude from Schindler's List who's only doing those bad action movies now.
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, but I guess he got pigeonholed into doing action later in his career because he's a lot better actor than you would think. I think Bronson, like I said, I have a very soft spot for Charles Bronson.
Bronson actually, when he began his career, he played tough guys. Guys in noir movies, part of the mob, the heavy and stuff. Was in jail in a couple of movies. And then, it started to change when he got into the Dirty Dozen, and later he started to do the revenge movies. You mentioned it earlier, Dan.
Death Wish.
Death Wish. So, yeah, he's had a very interesting, fascinating career. The guy has always been in great fucking shape and always exuded this masculinity that us guys just love to see in our movies. So, pretty good. I think he was an ex-Marine. Larry T is asking Bronson. I think he was an ex-Marine. Now when he started in Hollywood, he had his Polish name. It was like Walter Straczynski, some shit like that. And his agent said, "Yeah, you better change that."
Hackman was a Marine too.
Gene Hackman was, yeah.
Wasn't
there some story that he did something heroic or something, Dan? You don't remember?
I don't know. I saw him talking about it on Letterman in like 86 the other day. I saw it online because of his passing.
Yeah. You know what? Here's a movie I've never seen, Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh, it's all-time classic.
There's the best part in it, everybody's going to know, is when the beautiful, beautiful lady that's married to Kevin Kline, who's in Gremlins. Yes. What's her name?
Phoebe
Cates. She's getting out of the pool, but it's in Judge Reinhold's mind, and he's thinking about her naked and jacking off and gets caught. That is so funny. It's so good.
She didn't make many movies after that because another one whose nudity kind of messed with her head.
Oh yeah. Judge Reinhold said, because it was like the 40th anniversary a couple years ago, he said the day of that shoot, she kept, I think the director was a woman, if I remember correctly.
No, it was Christopher Columbus.
Okay. Oh, that's my bad then. But Either way, they said to her, like, you signed up for this. You knew that this is what you're getting paid to do. And it took like 14 hours to do that one scene because she almost got fired because she just refused to do it, according to Judge Reinhold. He's like, she's such a sweet girl. He's like, it was so tough for her to get through that. And he's like, I'm glad she did. But he's like, it was tough. And he said that was his memory of the shoot, was that day, her throwing a fit and almost getting fired.
Wow.
You're right. It was Amy Heckerling was the director. You're right, Dan.
Yeah, it was the one. That's what I thought. The woman director.
Fast Times.
The woman director.
I thought it was Chris Columbus. Yeah.
Well, the female director, according to Judge Reinhold, was like, like trying to soften the blow and tell her, like, you knew you were doing this, like, and trying to appeal to her as like female to female. But yeah, she didn't. It just didn't go well for her.
That sucks.
Yeah, she did Clueless. Look Who's Talking as well.
Yeah. Amy Heckerling had a nice career going.
Is she married to Kevin Kline or something, right?
No, Phoebe Cates is.
Phoebe Cates.
They've been married since like 89.
Yeah, he won't let her go. That's for sure.
She was beautiful, man. Fucking
PJ
beautiful.
said Once Upon a Time in the West is a great movie, and PJ, by the way, is going to be
one of the best movies of all time.
On Wednesday night. PJ will be
this Wednesday or next Wednesday?
This Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you
double duty for Tooch. Yeah, I'll try to make it. Yep.
If you can't, I'll bring Foster.
I should be able to make it.
All right, guys, let's pull the plug on this one. What do you think?
That was fun, Danny.
Yeah, it's good talking with you all. That's what I've missed. I've told people, and please don't be offended when I say this. I have not missed doing a podcast. Like I hate arguing about, now I don't mean you or anyone specific. I hate having to, like, if I say an opinion, then I have to argue why. I hate that. Like I don't miss that at all. I miss you all as people. No, I'm not kidding. Yep. I miss, like, tonight it was like we were talking as friends. That's what I miss. I hate arguing, and I don't even mean toward you all, just like there were so many times the chat group, like I felt like I was hated. And I don't mean to pour you, whatever, but they're just like, I felt like everything I said I had to defend. And I did not miss that at all. I miss you all as men, as friends, and talking about TV, talking about the Bears. I miss that. Like if you take you all out of this, I don't want to do a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like I have no interest in doing a podcast. To me, I'm hanging out with my friends.
Yeah, I mean,
so I miss you all. I miss you all. I miss you all. I can't say
hanging out with my friends. Yep.
Yeah, I miss you all. I mean, that's not blowing smoke again. Yep. I don't miss the podcast, but it feels like we're not doing a podcast right now.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I miss hanging out with you every week, like Wednesday night or Tuesday night, whatever we were doing. I miss that. I miss being with you. Like, not to sound, whatever, too cheesy or corny.
You miss this guy?
No, not at all. I don't have any aspirations of like, I'm not going to ESPN, and great that Bragg's moved on and got his career out of it. And I think he's the exception to the rule in some regards.
Oh, sure.
But I miss hanging out with you all. I miss talking to you on the phone or texting you. Like, I miss you all. You know what I mean? That's what I miss. So,
same here, brother.
I hope it doesn't sound like, goddamn, you don't miss the podcast. I don't want you to take it the wrong way.
Oh, we get it.
Podcast, except that we get to work together and get to talk to some of our friends in the chat. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
We're not here to be rich or be famous. Fuck that.
Right. Well, I just hated, like, if something, again, I don't want to talk politics, but if somebody asked me something politically, if you're not, I'm not saying Tooch here, I'm just meant in the chat group. Really. If somebody
I get it.
wants my opinion, but they know that I'm not going to agree with them, I don't want to argue over it. It doesn't make me a bad guy because you don't agree with me, and vice versa.
I get it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't miss that shit at all. Because we had, Aldo could tell you, man, there were times early in the show that people would fucking almost threaten us over our politics in the chat group. But you remember those days? I don't want to, there's one guy specifically, but I don't want to even say it, but they would almost like threaten us over the Trump stuff. Do you remember?
I remember, but I don't want to.
Okay. Like, I was like, damn, like,
Keith says this is why this show is so good. You can't get this kind of talk on TV.
Well, thank you, Keith.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't want to feel like I'm going to have to argue. And then the one guy, I wasn't even talking about this. One guy's threats felt a little bit more legitimate than the other guy was saying he was going to like come here and shoot me and all that shit. Like, I didn't think any of that was real, but I thought it was way over the line, especially in a gun culture that we have. You remember that one? That was the guy you liked. He didn't like. He was mad because I didn't like the Munsters or something. Not the Munsters. The
Three Stooges.
The Three Stooges. Yeah, like, and he started making all these crazy threads.
Yeah, he's a guy from New Jersey, and so he was just fucking around, kind of that New York, New Jersey sense of humor.
Retro.
That's a crime to say you're going to go shoot somebody. Like that's not
just like we joke about shit here about fucking Virginia McCaskey and shit like that.
I don't know, man. Threatened violence seems a little much. I mean, I didn't think he's actually going to do it. The other guy, I was a little worried about.
And it's because I've talked to him face to face on StreamYard and stuff. We've had meetings about potential projects, so I understood where he was coming.
Is he in the chat tonight?
No, he hasn't been. I haven't seen him in the chat in months. I think when Dan quit, he quit us.
Well,
he might be in West Virginia now looking for you, Dan.
Well, I don't mean to be too sensitive about things, but I mean, to me, if you say you're going to come across state lines and shoot me, I mean, you're the asshole for saying that. And just to say because I'm from New Jersey, that's not like doesn't make it okay, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, people make jokes and people take it the way they want to. You took it that way, and others took it another way. So
he had an oddball sense of humor, though.
Very, very. But he's a good guy. He's a decent guy. Yeah. And he always would say, my wife tells me to stop joking like this because people are going to think I'm serious. Yeah.
Yeah, I've known people like that.
Yeah, it is what it is. He's a decent guy, and I wish he was back, but since he's not around anymore, we could talk bad about him. Fuck him.
Well, I don't want to talk bad about it. That was my whole point. That adversarial kind of shit I didn't like at all. But yeah. I began with you all and talking with you all. Yep. I'm over. I'm going too much. I feel like I'm Adrian Brody right now. So,
by the way, as much as I hated Adrian Brody at the Oscars, his performance as Pat Riley was tremendous. Tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous. Yeah. God damn.
Is there another season of Winning Time?
That got canceled.
Yeah, it got canceled.
Jeff Pearlman was really upset.
That was really good, man.
He's been off of Twitter too. I think he's moved on because he hates Elon Musk.
That was really one of the best sports TV series.
Really was.
Gotta be at the top for me, near the top.
Yep.
You know what I need to rewatch because I haven't seen it in 25 years and I didn't like it, but everybody else like sucks its dick. I need to watch Hoosiers again. The Gene Hackman.
Yeah,
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
I like Gene, but I didn't like
it. Hopper.
What was it about it that you didn't like, Dan?
Oh, I just felt typical, predictable, cookie cutter bullshit. It just felt like it was like manufactured for the mass, like a pop song.
Yeah,
I didn't like it.
It was well done. It got the emotion. It made millions and millions. It was well done. But I agree with you, Dan. It just felt too cookie cutter.
Yeah, it wasn't based on a true story, was it?
Loosely based on a small high school in Indiana that they went to the finals, but they didn't play. Well, I won't get into all the details, but yeah, there were some a number of inaccuracies. So you could say it was very loosely based on it.
That reminds me of one more thing that James Woods said in the book. That movie, The Onion Field. He said in the movie, it says. He said, there's so many ways in Hollywood you can get around. You can say, this is based on a true story. It's based on true events. He goes through like 6 different things that filmmakers say. He said, the director of that film said, this is a true fucking story. Said, this is a true story. He said, so you can't fuck it up. I mean, if you mess it up, you open yourself to liability and getting sued. And, he's like, that is so difficult. To do, but he was talking about the set of balls on that director. I can't remember his name. The director that said, this is a true story and we're telling the true story.
Yeah.
So you can't embellish anything.
PJ says, Dan, I like you, but I will challenge you. It's a sign of respect. I respect your opinion enough to challenge. Trust me, if I didn't like you, I would ignore you.
No, PJ, I never felt any malice toward you or from you. I had none toward you, and I never felt it from you either. So that's good. Now, there were people that were threatening us over politics. That's all I'm saying. I mean, going back to 2021, I don't even think Tooch was with us yet when that kind of shit was happening.
Yeah, I don't think I was, but
I don't remember either. Hey, it happened. You know, nobody is threatened more than Caleb Williams, right, Tooch?
so I gotta get the free agency right. I'm telling you.
Thank you very much.
We have to get free agency right.
Yeah. Hey, Dan, it's been fucking fantastic.
That was awesome.
I'm glad to hear that you are, your schedule is such that we could do this again in the future. You just let me know when. We'll talk. I'd love to talk to you right after the draft because we've had some great episodes right after the draft. And Tooch and I get all excited about the prospects, and we turn you on, and you get a fucking what's that graphic you got here, Tooch? Yeah. You'll you start talking about the graphics, you'll be like this guy. So, Dan, any final words before we pull the plug on this one?
No, it was just like I said, not being corny. It was fun to be back with you all. And
that was great.
I hope that we can do something. And I'm talking about the Bears now. I hope that, God's sake, start beating Green Bay regularly. I want to win the Super Bowl, but fuck, like Lovey said, let's start with beating the Packers, and then let's win the North, and then let's win the Super Bowl. But I mean, Green Bay lost 5 of their 6 division games. Should have been 6. Yep. That blocked field goal. Let's pile on them. Let's get that fucking guy fired.
Yep. Hey, are you like Tooch? Are you for the Bears bringing back the Honey Bears now that Virginia's gone?
Yes. Maybe that's why we haven't won, because we got rid of our cheerleaders after Super Bowl.
Exactly. Yes.
Yep. The curse.
Yes.
It's like Bill Buckner. It's the curse of Bill Buckner.
Yep.
That's right.
Or the Bambino to be when your fucking first baseman can't even get a ground ball when you're about to win the World Series. So. That's the way we've been. The epitome, or the 1986 Boston Red Sox has been us. So close, but so far away.
How about it? Tooch, hopefully we'll see you on Wednesday. If not, no, if you got family stuff, and I know how rough it is.
My wife will let me hang out with you guys.
She's a sweetheart.
I gotta shout her out too. She's been studying really hard for nursing school, and I'm like, I was watching her study over her shoulder. I'm like, holy shit, that looks fucking hard. It's like all these pictures of cell structures and stuff for nursing school.
God bless him.
I was telling her how proud I was of her.
I've had some trips to the hospital recently, and so I know what a good nurse can do. So God bless her. Very noble profession.
Yep.
All right. For Dan Aguire, for Johnny Santucci, I'm Aldo Gandia. I'll be back here tomorrow night. What am I doing tomorrow night? It is Danny Shimon and I are going to talk about the combine, and Danny will share his expertise on the prospects and so forth. So hopefully you can join us tomorrow night at 9 p.m. here on the Barroom Network. Love all you guys.
Wednesday, you and me and PJ.
Yes, indeed. And I love my guys, Tooch and Dan. We will see you all next time.
All right, guys. Same here.